gotta... Or it comes out tonight, doesn't it? So...
Yep.
Yeah. Was it good, Kenzie? That's all I need to know. Or was it just Force... Or was it the Return of the Jedi? Like... That's all I gotta know, is did they just copy what they did 40 fucking years ago? That was... Yeah, Star Wars. I don't even know if I have it on my list. Jeez. I'm sure I do.
On your list?
Yeah, as I said, I got... If you look on the stream, I've got terrible notes, but I've got 2 pages of notes for things to talk about.
Oh, wow.
I got a whole shit ton that we can go through. I'll let you figure it out.
We definitely need to talk about Star Wars.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. There's a lot going on in the movie and game industry right now. There's a lot of fucking shit, man.
Yeah, Star Wars is definitely one of those things that's sort of a hot topic.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty, so I have no way how to introduce this show. I'll figure out some catchy slogan and I'll be like, welcome to... Why don't you take a bite out of your game? It's Game Bytes. Yeah.
Wow. That was top-notch quality right there.
Yeah, exactly. So
maybe you should talk to Shroud and tell him, hey, look at my channel. You might want to take some pointers.
Yeah, man. But yeah, so we are doing new talk show that honestly I've been wanting to do something like this for about 1.5 years now. I just really haven't taken the time / the effort to really make it happen, or good just time to kind of squeeze it into streaming. But with us slowly right now building out this team, this felt like a good way to start it out with. Is me and Energy here. I'm with Energy Jesse. I should probably have wrote that.
Well, you can just call me Energy now.
It's true, right? You're Energy. Oh shit.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, yes, there's an underscore there, but.
Yeah, I got it. All
right. At least it's just Energy now, instead of people thinking that I'm part of, some pro MLG team or something. Like, no, it's a name.
Just Energy. Hey, voice is over.
Oh. So, yeah, let me see about getting some more people in here. Alright, oh, wait. Derp.
Twitters?
It's the Twitters of us.
Twitters.
Blue Nissan Versa.
What?
Blue Nissan Versa. Oh, please tell me you've seen Heroes.
Yeah. Wait, are we talking which... I saw... We talking TV show Heroes, I'm assuming here. I watched the first 2 seasons, and I stopped after that.
Right. In the very beginning, it was all about getting the Blue Nissan Versa.
I don't even remember this, man.
You don't remember Hero
no.
and, like, the other, like, Asian dude? Like, they were renting a Blue Nissan Versa because it was, like, the first thing that they were able to correlate the comic book with actual events happening. And it was like they rented a car, and he was like, look, in the comic book it says that we have a Blue Nissan Versa, and look, we got a Blue Nissan Versa. It was like the first like correlating thing with reality.
This was back in like 2006, huh?
The original,
I just looked. Yeah, I looked up.
Yeah.
Like it was OG one was back in 2006. I was 11 years old.
Don't make me feel... I was about to say, don't make me feel old, and then you were like, 11. I'm like, fuck.
So that's probably why I don't remember it. But
Yep. That would explain it.
anyways, yeah. So we're doing this new gaming talk show. We're calling it the Game Bytes. And it will kind of just be having me, obviously, on it as I'm here. And Energy will be in most of them, more than likely. But we'll also, if he's not able to make it or something like that, this will be, right now, it will be a monthly show. I eventually want to turn this into a weekly show. But, monthly show.
There's a lot of IRL stuff going on to really do a weekly show.
Yeah, no, it's true. And that's why it's, I don't know, we'll see what happens. But, monthly show, and we'll be just having people on the team come in and just discuss. I've got a book that I stole from Microsoft, and pretty much I have a bunch of notes of things that I just caught up on the last few days on just kind of things happening in the games world, the tech world, kind of just news going on revolving around video games and things like that. Again, we might talk about the fucking Mars lander rover, whatever the intrigue or I have it written down in here. Where is it at? Anyways, point being, it's a game talk show, and it won't be just news. This is live. It won't be. There's not going to be super crazy, high quality kind of production level of I will pull up videos and I will pull up little, images and pictures and articles of stuff of things that I'm talking about just to give you guys relevance and just give you guys a gist of what we're talking about. But obviously, there's not going to be crazy transitions yet. Maybe one day we'll get to that point, but that takes a lot of planning and a lot of work to do. And I just currently don't have that time. So, but eventually, hopefully we'll be able to do that. But as I said, for now, it's just talk stuff. And as I said, it's not just news. When we talk about the news, we'll talk about what it's about. But really, it's about kind of just talking about our opinions and kind of our ideas of what's going on and how we think it should change or what we think is great about. Just all around, it's going to be a nice, long talking thing that's great. So.
Oh my god, I literally just saw the picture of that frickin' rover. Holy crap.
Yeah, man. It's fucking cool. James, you're talking net neutrality, which, trust me, we will get to that. That is If you actually saw my Twitter and Facebook today, I don't ever post on Facebook, but I posted on Facebook today about net neutrality. So, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not the last, resort of what's going on either.
No, exactly.
But
and
we'll
luckily there's a lot of stuff, but we'll step into that a little bit later. I want to start out with some lighter stuff before we get super political in here. But so I guess that's a good one to start with, is that Mars Rover. If you those are gadgets, let me look at the 25 best inventions. So I was looking at recently Times Magazine. It was, I think, a few weeks back, but they recently released their top 25 best inventions of 2017 and their top 10 gadgets of 2017. And there's some really, really cool stuff in here. Some really cool tech, some really cool just things like that. But I'll show you. We'll start out with one that they actually have on the list. It's called The Craft That Will Probe Beyond the Surface of Mars. So, and I'll show you guys. Here's a little image of it right here. This is the new Mars. It's the Insight, not Intrigue, Insight. So,
oh, no, that's not the rover that I was talking about.
Oh. It's a different rover?
Here's a rover that I was talking about.
Let me see. Wait, where are you sending it to me?
I put it in your chat.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is this is the concept of the Mars rover that they're looking to do, which is straight out of a fucking sci-fi movie, man. That's
dude,
crazy.
That looks like something out of I want to say like Judge Dredd or Yeah, something like that. Like that looks amazing.
Yeah, and that's definitely, we're getting very close to sending some
I
people
would
up
drive
to
that to work
Mars.
every
So,
day.
again reference here is the one that he was talking about, which is right here.
Yeah, when you said Mars Rover, I'm like, I searched for Mars Rover on Google and I looked at images and I'm like, what is that?
Yeah. So, yeah, this is the new one that they've kind of, and I think honestly, like, it looks super cool, but I think the thing to note are the tires on it.
Yeah.
They're spherical tires, and this is something that we're starting to see. Even certain cars have started to go this way.
Right.
These are ways that allow you to have more control over how you turn and are able to traverse things a lot easier. So it's definitely, there's a lot of interesting tech that goes into these things now. And as I was saying, this right here, the rover is currently a concept. The actual probe, the drone, is a solar powered drone that literally can dig into Mars surface and kind of pull up different minerals and things like that. So, and that was one of the things on the list. But we'll kind of do a quick run through of just all the things on this list, because I think there's some really cool stuff in here and some interesting.
Yeah.
So they had this, which is it's a robot. It's called the Jibo. I don't know if you've heard of this, but it's kind of like Siri or the Amazon Echo or Google Home. It's all these kind of things, but it's a robot, and I don't know how I feel about this. Like, it seems cool, but they were saying that the reason why they put this on instead of anything else is that apparently its responses seem human.
Well, yeah, because it actually can kind of convey emotion with the way that it rotates and like angles itself.
Yeah,
and the face that can be put on it can actually like change based off of what you're telling it.
That's interesting.
It looks cool, but for $900.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're looking, $900, it could be yours. So, it's kind of a bit, but it's definitely interesting. Again, this technology we're gonna see a big boom in new technology coming up here with VR and robot helpers and a lot of other things.
Yep.
There's new stats that's saying robots are going to take over 35 million jobs by 2030, I think, or 2020. I don't remember, something along those lines. So, this is super cool.
Then the robot uprise will happen
Yeah,
10 years after that when they become self-aware and.
Yeah. So this one's kind of cool. It's called the Esight 3. Now, this is expensive as hell. It's $10,000 right now. So if you have the money to drop on it, it's right here. But this is actually glasses that give sight to the blind. So it's not full blindness. It's just people who are, legally blind but still are able to actually see a bit. But pretty much what it is, it's a TV that's strapped to your face. It's a camera that actually zooms in and magnifies and everything, and it puts it all in Ultra HD. So, it's a new product that's actually, and you wear them like glasses. So they're not overly huge, they're not clunky, they're not anything. But that's one of the reasons they're so ginormous, or the price is so ginormous is this. And they've had some previous models to this, but this is the current new model. So. But
and
yeah,
that could be like a prototype for maybe a better version of VR goggles.
exactly, and that's the way I saw it. Is like, this is starting out for blind people, and it apparently already has 1,000 people, but yeah, this is definitely the kind of technology that we're going to be seeing soon. Which, by the way, they actually do have something like this coming out that I think we'll have in the 10 best gadgets. So once we go through that, this is interesting. I've never heard of this. This is called Halo Top. It's guilt-free ice cream is what it's called. It's $6 a pint, so it's pretty average actually. But it's low sugar ice cream, so it's for pretty much anyone who's heavy dieting or anything like that. It's not to get rid of bad things in it, but it's simply to give people a chance to eat ice cream who are considered try to be healthy. So And that's the key, not the 280 calories. It's the low sugar that's kind of the key of that. But there's kind of a lot in it. There's like sativa and sugar and with cane sugar and sugar alcohol. So there's actually some. I noticed there wasn't some of the greatest stuff in it, but it's good.
Stevia.
Yeah, it's good. It's a step in the right direction, you know. So making things a little bit more accessible. But I didn't even know, like, I'm not a makeup person at all, but apparently Rihanna released a line of makeup called Fenty Beauty. Didn't know it, but it's to all skin tones. Was kind of the key thing, was that apparently most, again, I don't know makeup, but I do know that most companies cater to light and medium skin tone women. So Rihanna came out with a line that was geared to all colors of people, and it sold out instantly. Like, all the dark colors were going out instantly. So all of a sudden, L'Oreal and Makeup Forever and stuff are coming out with their own darker skin makeup. So that's just called a get
I want to say
wrecked.
about this. The things I want to say about that, because I guess you gotta have something to cover up the bruises, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and Ken's going back to the ice cream. That's the thing about the ice cream, is that I guess it actually genuinely tastes like ice cream. It actually tastes good, and it doesn't taste like low sugar, shitty ice cream. It's actually good ice cream. Is why they have it. It's not an option to terrible. It's just good. Although I was looking at the flavors, and I'm kind of like, I don't try to be too adventurous with certain flavors. Like,
waffles.
Yeah, pancakes and waffles, birthday cake, rainbow swirl. But yeah, they got
pancakes and waffles.
So,
but I mean, I'll do the birthday cake.
Yeah,
birthday cake actually sounds pretty good.
But yeah, it's protein enriched, so that's kind of one of the reasons why it's so good. But this is cool, and apparently it's actually making it's actually getting some good traction. It's called the Ember Mug. It's $80, so it's a mug that's $80, but you could actually get these at a lot of Starbucks, apparently. And what it is a guy was kind of they're talking about some people like their coffee warm, some people like it hot, some people cold. They're all over the map, and they're saying that by one estimate that you only have about 37 seconds to enjoy a brew at an ideal level of warmth. That's a fucking low amount of time. And so that's what one of the founder of it said, is like, that doesn't make any sense. So he actually made a mug. Hey! Well, thank you for that. Thank you, Jake, for the new sub. Welcome to the insane asylum, my friend. And welcome to the new game show. Hey, look at that. One sub for the new talk show. That's a good way to go. But thank you, Jake. Welcome. Once we kind of get through this bit, we'll have to come up with a story of why you're insane. So, but you were beautiful. You're sexy. I love you. So, thank you so much. We will continue talking. Mug, it's got white ceramic and things like that, and it's able to hold coffee and things like that at 120 degrees to 145 for about an hour, off a charger, and otherwise it can hold it. So it's pretty much just a coffee that's just constantly hot. Just take it out of the pot, I guess. So that's kind of nice. But this was, I think, one of my favorites out of this was the elevators that don't just move up and down. Straight out of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, they're starting to come out with these elevators that actually are able to move sideways, and they're doing it with magnets, which sounds scary as fuck, man. Magnets are crazy. I don't trust magnets. I don't. But we use magnets for everything now. Like the Hyperloop and a lot of the super fast bullet trains and stuff like that are built on magnets, and now they're making the Hyperloop, which is again built on magnets. And now they got elevators. which
Yeah,
sound just as
I don't know
scary.
how I feel
Like,
about that.
looking at this picture, I don't know if this is a real picture or a conceptual idea. I'm pretty sure this is a conceptual idea.
Yeah,
But
that's conceptual for sure.
yeah,
'Cause
like, there's no way that this exists. But that's the cool thing, because when I was reading this, I was like, what's the actual application to this, right? Like, going up and down is great, but what's the benefit? You get to go to the other side of the building that you could have just walked to, right?
well,
Like,
there's a walking aspect, but I mean, like for those that are handicapped, I guess it would
yeah,
make a
it's
little bit more
huge.
sense.
But
Um,
the thing that I realize is that this could travel in between buildings, kind of how this picture
Oh,
shows.
yeah.
I never thought about that, but that's kind of how they were talking about it. Is that it's called Multi is the elevator, the company that's working on it, and it will literally change how buildings are constructed, because yeah, it might actually build out where you have this center area where you're going in between buildings. So whenever you're in a mall or anything like that, you can actually get into one of these elevators and travel across the mall or travel to another building on the other side. So you could literally intertwine business, corporations, and things like that through elevators, which would be really cool. But again, magnets, which are scary. So
magnets, how do they work?
yeah, well, and it's cool because they already have it where they're passing by each other. So like, it's not just one elevator. You can literally have two elevators like interchange places, which again,
Right.
kind of scary. And they actually move faster than regular elevators too. So
Yeah.
all scary stuff, in other words. So, but yeah, that
Yeah.
was kind of my thought on it. Was like, there's not much benefit to a building itself, but being able to go in between buildings could be a huge way of just how buildings are made and how even corporations are structured inside buildings and things like that. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you were just moving for like horizontally across the same building, you might as well just have one of those like moving walkway things.
yeah,
if you're
exactly. That was my thought, right?
Yeah. But I mean, going in between buildings, that's an interesting idea. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, there's benefits, also maybe some underground stuff and things like that you can do with it. So
You could link like parking garages together. Oh, it'd be great for the casinos out here, actually. Like the casinos out here in Vegas, like instead of having to worry about trying to cross the street or something like that, you have an elevator spanning
that just
between
go
the different
between
hotels.
shit. Yeah, it's not wrong. Although, man, Vegas is fun to walk around though.
Yeah.
Unless I'm sure you spend your life there, then it's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
So
Well, here's the thing that I always find funny about like when I have friends visiting from out of town and they want to go down to the strip, and it's like, oh yeah, we can walk down to New York from here. You know, it's not that far. And then an hour later, we're still not at New York. What the fuck? Like, we saw it from where we were standing. We still haven't gotten there in an hour. What the hell?
yeah,
It's so deceptively like large. Like
Yeah,
it
it
doesn't
really
look
is.
large, but it is.
yeah. I've been there. I went there recently, a few years back. I wasn't old enough to gamble yet, but
Well, not
It
if
was
you were
still a lot of
11 when
fun.
Heroes came out. Jesus.
yeah. Well, and then we got IPhoneX. No surprise there. $1,000 right now. This was quick little one to note is a hijab, Nike Pro. It's for people who wear these. So, and they're apparently made to be people who can actually exercise without their regular one on. So that's kind of nice. That's a good inclusive product. This one is interesting. What do you know what are the people called who are obsessed, like they constantly think they need to get checked up? There's a phrase for it.
Yeah. God. Let's see. I can't
Let's
think
see
of the
if I can find
name.
it. Let's see. Munchausen's.
What is it?
Munchausen's, I think.
Okay.
Is that right?
I've never heard of it, but
No, that's wrong. That's the wrong one.
okay. Um.
No, it is Munchausen's. So
Munchausen's, yeah, that's um a hospital addiction syndrome.
yeah, it's just people who feel they're constantly ill and they fake illness and things like that. So, um, this is a hospital for them. So they recently have these new. They're turning this hospital so that they've started to do this, and they've got a lot of funding, like 100. They just raised $100 million in funding, and recently opened a location in LA, and they plan to expand to other cities. It's called Forward. It's a preventative care clinic. So instead of instead of only going to the doctor when you get sick, why don't you go here? And it's a gym subscription is what it is. Is you pay $150 a month, and you get unlimited access to genetic screenings, blood testings, and weight loss planning, routine doctor visits, and some other stuff, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's by the founder and former the founder and the CEO. It was a former Google executive.
That could actually be really smart of them to do. Because I'm thinking about it, like my wife's insurance, they hardly pay anything if you're actually sick. Like
Sure.
it's the shittiest insurance ever, but they will cover anything that's preventative care. So something like that, I could see like insurance companies being like, well, it's preventative, and so we're just gonna go ahead and pay for that for whoever's on our insurance plan, and you can go there anytime, and they get a special deal on it or whatever.
Well,
But for $150 a month, I don't know how much the insurance companies could actually handle that.
Sadly, they don't accept health insurance right now, so that is the one problem with it.
Yeah, well,
but
I mean,
no,
it
and
probably
they
doesn't right now, but
no, and
sure.
they're growing, and there's a lot of lashback on it too, though.
Yeah.
Because most people can't afford that amount, every month. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into it, but again, the more that we see these, the lower that cost goes, and eventually we'll be able to see different things. But yeah, it's a hospital that's a gym membership too. So
interesting.
This I actually want to buy these shoes. They're called the Adidas Futurecraft 4D. So they are shoes that are 3D printed to your foot.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. And they can do it within 2 hours, I think, is the idea. It's like I can't remember how long. It takes weeks making 2 hours. So it takes 2 hours, and so they make these, and they apparently have gone on sale. They're going in this they were saying they were going on sale beginning in mid-December. So honestly, it should be going on sale any second now. So
and if they measured my foot, they would just print out a set of flippers.
So
they'd be like, "Damn it, your foot's too wide. It's too big. Flippers, just flippers. You get flippers."
I don't know how much these cost, but I want to actually look into getting something like this because I have a lot of ankle problems and things like that from my shoes. I wear inserts and things like that, but it's not enough. So these might be good for me, but we'll have to look. So
well, my feet are like super wide. Like it's always hard for me to find shoes.
I've seen your
feet.
feet.
Like any pair that I buy, like the sides just always get blown out, and it sucks. Let's buy a new pair of shoes soon anyway.
Well, there you go. Buy one of these. Then you'll never. They'll form to you. So, I think that's the thing, though. It's not the actual shoe itself. It's just the sole. It's just the sole of the shoe. So, then we got the Tesla Model 3. No surprise there. Tesla is always. I mean, they just deserve a spot here, even if they didn't make anything. Just Tesla. So.
I saw a video on that. It's actually more financially efficient to buy a Civic than it is to buy a Model 3.
Really?
Yeah, like between the cost of ownership, how much maintenance, I think it was like over a 3-year period. It actually financially it sits right in between the Civic and like a BMW 330i. Like a BMW 330i, like, well, also counting depreciation value and all that, because you also have to figure like Teslas, the batteries only last for so long and then they have to be replaced, and the
Yeah.
cost of the batteries is almost as much as the car itself
Yeah,
at
it's
that
pretty
point.
ridiculous.
So it's, yeah, the Model 3 is a nice car, and I mean to you know,
Yeah.
beat the Chevy Bolt and all that, like, and it's a beautiful looking car,
Yeah.
but
They always are, man. That
but yeah,
Tesla, they
between
should have
like,
had the Tesla truck, the 18-wheeler, man. Those things are crazy.
oh yeah, Pepsi actually ordered a bunch of those
I'm not
apparently.
surprised. Like, those are exactly what they were marketing towards, the companies, man. And the Tesla, the Model 3, I just read there, I mean, they're $35,000, and they offer 200 miles on a single charge, which isn't that much in reality.
Yeah, they
But
ordered
it's
a
not
hundred of
bad.
the Pepsi pre-ordered 100 of the Tesla electric semi trucks.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
And apparently, though, people want the Model 3. There's as many as
Oh yeah.
1,800 orders every day.
Yeah.
That's
They were saying
insane.
the guy that was like doing all the calculations for that, it was, so apparently the tax break that you get from ordering uh, an electric car goes away after the first so many that are purchased of that model.
Oh,
So like,
I didn't
yeah,
even know
it's
you
thirty
got
five
tax
thousand
break from it.
dollars.
Shit.
Yeah, you get a tax break from buying electric vehicles, but it has to be like within the first amount that are sold that year of that particular model.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
if you got that, if you were lucky enough to be one of the people to like pre-order it before that, happened, then it would actually come out to be about on par with the Civic. But but a majority of people aren't going to be getting that, because I think it's the first 10,000 that are sold get the
Shit.
tax
That's
break, and
crazy.
it's like a $7,500 tax break. It's a
Oh,
pretty decent
damn, son.
size.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. Okay.
So,
Interesting.
yeah, it's a good decent chunk of money, but you have to be within the first like so many people to purchase the car.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I didn't
So,
even know that. So, yeah, I don't know. I like Tesla is my dream car, but not the Model 3. Just Model X, man.
the
Fucking.
P100D, baby.
Oh yeah. There you go. There's man, some Teslas. I did. You ever gone into a Tesla shop and then make your own car kind of thing?
No,
They have it. They have all these touchscreens where they're like, make your Tesla, and you do it. Mine came out to $400,000. Woo! So
I don't know if Tesla has. Yeah, okay, they do have a Tesla shop here in Vegas, or Tesla place in Vegas. Um, and it's got weird hours, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
that's about
All
right.
right,
That sounds
so
like mall hours almost.
no, malls usually stay open a bit later than that, like 9, 10. And then considering this town is 24 hours pretty much all the time, everywhere.
Why is the Tesla 18-wheeler terrible, Kenzie?
Yeah.
Who cares? Oh, here's one for us. A portable wearable breast pump.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, no real explanation needed on this. It's a breast pump. They're $480 plus
Holy crap.
50 cents per a bag that you store the milk in or whatever. So,
In before Twitch IRL streamers buy them to make their tits look huge.
dude, I should buy these. Shit.
Oh.
Not a single trucker will buy it. They want a sleeper cabin and a minimum of 1,000 miles on one charge, but it only goes 500, which is horrible. Dang.
Well, you got to figure, Kenzie, like,
Right,
I
Jake?
mean, most individual truckers won't buy them, but anybody who's running a major corporation that's doing a lot of small distance driving, like if they're going from like LA to Vegas or LA to San Francisco or something like that, it'll allow them to actually more efficiently transport their merchandise, whereas like the individual trucker wouldn't be purchasing because I mean it's kind of useless. They
Yeah.
end up just becoming a computer operator at that point, not a truck driver.
Yeah,
So
no, it's true. Like I'm with you there. It's like I think it's better for corporations. And again, this is the first electric 18 wheelers, right? Like we're gonna see more of them in the future. That'll probably be better and better for mass market and things like that, probably. But yeah,
yeah.
I'm like I'm with energy here, where it really is for, and it's good for those like small drives, right, where you are driving San Francisco to San Diego or things like that. So, but it's interesting. Like you bring up a good point. Like I don't know truckers that well, so I don't know what they look for when they buy trucks. Like what again, like as you said, you need a minimum. A sleeper cabin would be nice. That's a pretty necessary thing. Like that's definitely something they should add. But
God, those things are expensive too.
yeah. All right, and then here we go. We got, yeah, they're probably really expensive, and that's the same. But again, they might fail right now, but again, Tesla is pretty innovative, and they're really good about making good stuff that's actually worthwhile to get most of the time. So
the way that it's been seen is that the electric semi trucks will run between $150,000 and $180,000, which is pretty expensive when it comes to trucks. But then again, that's the cost of doing business.
Yeah.
But over 1 million miles of use, it can save companies $250,000.
Yeah. It's
so
true.
The cost of the truck is kind of being paid for by the amount of money being saved. Because if you look at it, a lot of trucks nowadays actually drive well over that amount. Like especially semis. I knew this one lady, like when I worked at Walmart back in my younger years. There was this one lady. She came in for an oil change on. It was at the time it was like a 3-year-old Ford F350 or something like that. And I looked at the odometer on it, and she was reaching like 800,000 miles on it. And it was only 3 years old. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what do you do? And she's like, well, my husband drives the semi, and I follow behind him in the truck with the dog and everything else. So we kind of truck together as a family.
Interesting.
So yeah, they definitely rack up the miles on those.
And that's not a bad idea, Kenzie. Is hybrid. I'm a fan of hybrid. I like hybrid, but again, the idea, the idea with Tesla is not always about making. A lot of it is about trying to find alternative fuel sources. Is always what they've kind of been about. Yeah. And
also they're trying to. They're not going to put in the charging stations until there's the vehicles on the road to utilize
exactly.
them.
The more people that buy them, the more charging stations they'll put up. So.
Right. And so like this is a perfect test case because then you've got like Pepsi that's going to be transporting a lot of, sodas and stuff, between, large cities. Like as I said before, between LA and Vegas. That's a perfect drive for that truck. That will allow it to start at one location, finish at the other, and it will not have even gone through a full charge yet. And so then they're able to actually transport all that there and back. And then in between, it's like, okay, well, now we're seeing a lot more of a pickup of these kinds of vehicles on the road. So we're going to put a charging station like 500 miles outside of Vegas. And then, and then all of a sudden, that's like the halfway point between Vegas and something like Colorado or like Denver. Like that would be another major stop along the way, or maybe hitting like the beginning of Texas. It'd be sort of like a perfect midway point, and just sort of eventually it'll span out. But at this point in time, yeah, it's in its very infantile stages. But they have to have a product to get out there to prove that it's actually a desirable thing. You can't just say, okay, well, we're going to make 1 million trucks and then we're going to put in a whole bunch of charging stations. And then all of a sudden nobody wants to buy them and everything just goes under.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why think of the semi as more of a concept thing right now for now. But again, I don't know trucks that well, or the trucking business at all. So it sounds like, Kenzie, you're saying that you guys have a trucking company, which is, so no one's really impressed with the semi, which is, it's too bad. I mean, I think it's, again, it's good to kind of try and find these alternate fuel sources, but I also understand, like, there's a necessity to actually get a certain amount. You need certain requirements so you can do business yourself. So there's also that. So it's definitely, I mean, again, we'll see where it goes in the next 5 years, right? So
do you watch what's it called, the Grand Tour at all on Amazon?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, essentially on their new season, the first episode, they ended up having Richard Hammond, who they were trying out 3 different supercars. One of them was a traditional Lamborghini that uses regular fuel, and then they had, what was it? I want to say it was a McLaren or something like that. That was a hybrid, and so it did both. And then Richard Hammond had an all-electric supercar that was phenomenal. But yeah, it was, he ended up booking, like, the way that they had to plan out their trip for testing out these vehicles and seeing which one was, better. They ended up having to book a hotel that had a charging station. And it was funny because they're known for drinking beer and, liquor all the time whenever they're, done with the day. Like, at the end of the day, they'll have beers or whatever. And it turns out that the hotel that they had to book at because of needing the charging station, there was a detox convention thing going on. So there was no beer, no liquor, no nothing. And they're like, what the fuck? And all they had was, like, kale and spinach, and, like, there was no meat or anything. And they're like, what the fuck did you get us into? And then he's like, okay, and I've got this whole day planned out for us where we go from our hotel to this place, and we go to this museum, and then all this other stuff. And then the next day he's like, okay, we're going to go from our hotel back to the same place and go to a different museum. And then they're like, wait a minute, what is your plan for this entire week? Like, are we going to keep going from the hotel to here? And he's like, yes, tomorrow we're going to the Pencil Museum down the street. And they're like, is the only reason why you picked this place because it's the only place within your driving range that has a charging station? He's like, yes.
That's kind of sucky.
Yeah. And then they're like, well, we want to go to a racetrack. So they're like, okay, we're going to the racetrack, and then Richard will just, have to either stay back at the hotel or something. And then Richard ended up having to, like, rent a tow truck to tow his car to the racetrack so that it wouldn't use up the charge on the car.
Damn. Yeah, there's still a lot of problems with electric cars right now, so, but they are the way that we should go, But eventually we'll get there. We're still a few years before they really start going mainstream. So again, right now a lot of people are transitioning to hybrid. After that, then they transition to all electric. But we gotta see some new technology before it really explodes. So.
Yeah, the one that disappointed me out of all those was Fisker Karma. Like, it was a beautiful looking car, and I think it just sort of died out because, well, for one, it was really expensive, and for two, Justin Bieber bought one. So, so what's that Nest Secure thing that you got up on there?
Oh, yeah, no, I've just had this up. This was the next one on the list. But we got the Nest. It's just it's a Net Secure program it's not a Net Secure, sorry. It's a secure hub for pretty much your entire house, gate keys, door keys, windows, like.
And for $500.
Mm-hmm. You can plug it all in. It's a security system, which is cool. That's simple. I've seen a few of these in some places. Nest actually has some good, like, speakers and things like that, but I don't know. I don't really think this is that groundbreaking, I guess. So, but it's a simpler kind of home security system, which is cool, but
that's really simple. I mean, I could see somebody breaking into a house, all of a sudden the alarm goes off, they're like, oh, that's really loud. They just run over to it and smash it on the ground, and okay, alarm disabled. And does it have Bluetooth functionality or no?
I'm pretty sure it does because it's a smartphone app that manages the entire system. So yeah, I'm guessing
Okay.
it's
Because like one of the cool things that
Bluetooth
I've
or
seen
Wi-Fi.
is like,
So
yeah, well, I've seen like really cool ones where it actually like it'll recognize people's phones, and so you go up to a door and it'll automatically unlock because it connects with a Bluetooth or it
okay, that's
recognizes
kind
the
of cool.
phone.
That's fucking awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
But
So I like that better, but something like that, I guess it's a nice little entry level, but
yeah,
I think I'd rather have like security cameras instead of something like that. I mean, I guess I could
they do
incorporate with
have
security cameras.
motion sensors. So
Yeah.
um,
But I'd rather have like security cameras that upload
oh
to a
no, here you
cloud.
go. Here it says if an intruder tries to break or unplug the hub, it will sound a 85 decibel alarm. Damn.
Right.
So, but what happens when they do break it? Like
Exactly. I mean, I can
Interesting,
disable a
but-
speaker.
Then we got
Just takes
the Mars Insight, which is cool. It's that craft that has X-ray and a bunch of other kind of super sick stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's that. This was the oh no we were this was what it was. It was a VR headset that stands alone. It's the Oculus Go. I don't know if you've actually heard about this. It's only $200, so
Yeah.
it's actually not bad.
Yeah, that thing actually looked really cool.
It's pretty
I was
cool.
really
It's
interested.
again step in the right direction. VR technology is still very early stages. It's been around forever, but it's catching steam is the thing. So we're not. Again, I don't think any of the VR stuff's out right now is actually going to be any of the good ones. We're going to see a new company come out with something mind blowing, and that's what's going to really kick it off. But so the Oculus Go is the computer is inside of it, so you don't need anything else. It's a little bit heavier, but it's wearable. There's no wires, nothing to it. You just wear it, and you're able to do stuff. But it's not as powerful, and there's a lot of other things like that. So
Yeah, I'm trying to look up the specs right now, but their website is extremely sparse on information.
Oculus is. I'm sorry, but HTC is doing the best, and it sounds like HTC is coming out with their own as well. So, which is cool. So you won't need you will need a space for it still is the idea, but you don't need.
Oh,
You're not tied
okay.
down. So.
Oh, this is actually interesting. It's got built-in spatial audio built into the headset.
Yeah.
And it's also 2560 by 1440 screen, which isn't too bad. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's not too
No,
bad.
it's not terrible. And again, it's a step in the right direction. So again, best inventions. Yeah, not bad. So.
And it makes it a little bit more accessible to those people that didn't want to spend $400 or $500 on a freaking
Fucking
full-blown
$800 on a fucking HTC Vive.
Yeah.
So.
Although I thought they reduced the price of the Vive recently down to like 500.
I think they might have. Yeah. Next thing up that I actually was thinking about getting is called the Tastee One Top. There's a company out there called Tastee. If you've never heard of them, they're the equivalent of the Food Network, but on the internet. If you ever, I'm addicted to their Twitter. They have the whole cooking the food, and they just have the hand wave over, and it just adds shit into a bowl and makes it up, and all of a sudden food. So they're very popular. It's by BuzzFeed.
The cooking with the food and the things.
Yeah, but this is a Tastee One Top, which is literally it's a so it syncs up with your smartphone, and you can actually have it link up to food that you're making, so it can help you out with some of that stuff. But like it's literally you can deep fry stuff, you can just boil stuff, you just pretty much change out the top of it, and it sets it to all different settings. So it's a stove that can do anything really. It's actually a really good invention. It's $150. I'm thinking about getting something like this. So
No, that's not a bad price or something like that, honestly.
they got
Majority
drones.
of things that way are like at least 200.
Yeah, exactly. And they got drones that have cameras built in that are better for taking selfies. We've been seeing a lot of these. Nothing too crazy about this. They're just really, really fucking nice drones. $500 drone. This is
did you hear about what?
Say again?
Did you hear about what happened with DJI?
No.
Oh, they got caught. Let's see. It was DJI. They were so essentially any of the DJI drones. Uh, God, there it is. They were sending data to China.
Oh,
It
interesting.
was like anything that it recorded. It was sending it off to China. Like you
I
had to
mean,
connect the
DJI.
DJI.
Yeah, DJI is in China, so they're just
Yeah.
getting their own. But still, damn.
Yeah, no, they were. Apparently, it was you originally it had to be connected to the internet for some reason. As a drone, it needed to be on the internet. Don't know
Interesting.
why, but they found out why. They found out it's because it was sending stuff in the drone to DJI.
That's not all around
And-
terrible. Like, I mean, there's a lot of companies that do that. Whenever you agree to a lot of the terms and conditions, you actually agree to those kind of things. You know, whenever you use
Right, but it
Google
was in
Chrome,
the
you have them
commercial-
send data back to Google Chrome, right? So,
but it was in the commercial products only. It wasn't in the regular the user ones.
oh, okay,
apparently.
interesting.
And apparently the US Army was using them, and now they are no longer using them.
Of course, yeah. No, that's dangerous,
was-
and those are very hackable, and there's a lot of problems with that. so.
Yeah. So
Thanks,
yeah,
Dixie.
DJI got in a lot of shit for that one.
No surprise there. We got this air filter, new air filter. It's $800 plus. It's called Molecule, and it apparently, I don't really understand how this works, but instead of trapping pollutants, it literally just destroys them, fucking obliterates them. I don't know, because it still goes somewhere, right? Like, again, you can't like just make them disappear. So, but it's a nano filter, and it's designed to react with light in a way that prevents toxins, including mold and bacteria particles, from growing back. So it's similar to the way that light shines on a solar cell to generate electricity. So it sounds like a bug zapper, from what I can tell, but an air filter. So it's interesting. But then, so it's $800, but then the new you have to buy a new filter about once a year, or new filters, and it's about $100 a year. So,
Yeah, usually you have to change out filters about once every 3 months.
but a lot of people say that it's worth it. Apparently, they can actually taste the air better. So there you go.
I'll definitely need that in LA.
Yeah, that's true. There are a lot of places that could benefit from something like this. These are fucking cool as shit. I'm really excited. This is combine this wheel with the Rover wheels. Holy shit!
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, this is the Michelin Vision concept. So these are still early stages. They're not, like they say, invention of 2017. They're not even ready, and they were saying that the technology might not even exist for a few years. But it's an airless tire, so you don't need to worry about pounds per square inch or anything like that. And it's made of recycled materials.
Yep.
But the way it's made is 3D printed treads, and they can be swapped out to accommodate different road conditions. That's kind of the one downfall, is that, you know, it's like, oh, is it a wet, rainy day? I'm going to need to change my tires.
Well,
but
you
you
need
just
to do that anyway with normal tires. What essentially they're saying is that if you're using a vehicle on a certain terrain, you'll have a certain kind of tire. But so I don't know if you deal with this in your area. I know I don't, but most people actually have two sets of tires. They have their summer tires and their winter tires.
Yeah, we don't
And
do that.
if you don't use, like, they actually did this test on what was it? Some YouTube show or whatever. They had a Subaru STI versus the Subaru BRZ, and the Subaru BRZ, which, as you know, is rear wheel drive. They had winter tires on it, it was actually a BMW M3. That's right. It was a BMW M3 versus a Subaru STI. The STI had summer tires on it. The BMW M3 had winter tires on it, and they were driving through the snow. and the BMW M3 beat it in drag races all the time because it could actually get grip on the rear
Interesting.
tires.
Okay.
Whereas the Subaru, even though it had the all-wheel drive to help it, the summer
Sure.
tires just couldn't get
Just
traction.
really about the tires. Okay.
Yeah. So
So,
having different tires for different situations, that makes a lot of sense.
so, and okay, so that's what it is. So it's 3D printed treads, which can be swapped out without changing the tires itself. So, but the challenge is to find out how to do quickly because again, people need to be able to. Some people are in a rush and stuff. They can't be changing tires all the time. So, and I'm sure whatever tire you have will work for whatever if you're
Well,
in a rush, right?
that's a lot easier than doing so. I mean, because if somebody doesn't like want to go through the hassle of switching out the tread, then they could just keep two sets of the wheels as well as the tires.
Exactly.
So and they could swap that
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
And,
Get just two of these tires and then just swap the tires out again. No, there's a lot.
Because I know a lot of
it,
people that
so.
they would actually like if they couldn't afford a second set of actual wheels to go with their winter tires or whatever, they would actually like keep the tires in their garage, and then when winter's about to come, they would go to the tire shop and have the tire shop just swap out the tires, and they would just mark which tire was in which position originally. And
Sure.
then when winter's over, they'd go back to the tire shop again and have them swap it back
That's
with
a
the tires in the
pain,
right
man.
place.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
happy we
so
don't do it
doing
here.
that is a lot less of a pain.
That's true. But they were saying Michelin is saying that's probably as far as 20 years away, which I don't believe that. It's gonna be sooner, if anything. But
Well, they've been working on it for years. I mean,
well, and again, but the growth that technology is right now, like they say 20 years away to be safe, but it's gonna be like probably 10 years. You know, like half that more than likely. So we'll see. But they were saying like things like airless designs, and then they have sensors that flag drivers when treads are wearing down could become mainstream, which that would be a good one when treads are wearing down. My treads are starting to get low, and I almost slid off the road recently, not realizing it. So definitely be
I actually
useful.
had a blowout the other day.
Yeah, dang.
So
Exactly. See, so those are the kind of things that'd be nice. And hey, if we have airless tires, blowouts don't happen, right?
yeah, well, I mean, mine was because the tread was like really freaking low. Like I knew one of the tires was really low, and then like when I went to go get the tire replaced, I was like, you know what? I'll just get the other one replaced also, just so I have two brand new rear tires.
Yeah,
And the other rear one was actually really low too. But my front tires are in perfect, beautiful shape. But it's so
weird.
hard to, and it was
Yeah.
funny too, because like my tires are such low profile that I didn't even notice that I had a flat tire until I got on the freeway and I started smelling the rubber burning, and I'm like,
Sure.
okay, I've got a flat tire, so I pulled off, and then like the outside of the tire looked totally fine, like it was a perfect tire, just maybe a little bit low on air, and then I look at the inside, and the inside is just all like pitted and like torn to
Torn
shit, and
up,
I'm like,
yeah.
okay, yeah, it's done.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where these can come into play. I don't know. Whenever I hear recycled material, I get a little bit like everything that sounds like it breaks down really easily, you know? But it doesn't.
Well, I mean,
so.
if it's made out of like 100% rubber and all, I mean, rubber can be melted and remolded and everything else. I mean, that's easy to do. It's when you start like recycling things that shouldn't be recycled,
Sure.
uh, like recycled paper, for example. Like you can't really recycle paper and get writing like paper to write on again.
Sure.
It has to be fresh bleached paper.
Yep.
And then yeah, so there's situations for different things, because it used to be where any used tires would essentially just go to the trash heap, and then some of the tires would actually get chopped up into little bits of rubber and then turned into playground material where kids could like play on it and not get hurt, which was really cool. But that there's still a crap ton of tires out there that they just take up landfill space, and if
we could be
for
using
some
that.
reason
So.
yeah, if for some reason they end up catching on fire, that fire can burn really hot and for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? There was a...
I want this tire design. on my car, just like a tire that looks like this, because it looks cool as hell. So, next up, we got a Wi-Fi router that safeguards your internet. So it's like $300. It's by Norton.
Oh god.
It's just a thing to neutralize threats. So if it notices a virus or anything like that, it cuts off that system from the rest of the network, and so it like quarantines it. It quarantines it, and then is able to just, which sounds cool, but not worth $300. I mean, yeah, a router is worth that much if you don't have one, but like,
I could see that being interesting. But I don't get viruses. Like, okay, so the funniest thing is, like, I literally haven't installed a virus scanner on my system in probably about 5 years. And when I recently was doing my reinstall of my system, probably about 6 months ago, it was right around the same time that my parents' system had an issue with viruses because my parents go to the wrong website sometimes and download the wrong things. And so I was cleaning out their computer and, just doing a virus scan on it. And I'm like, you know what? I'll run one on my computer too, just to see. And sure enough, after, like, it had been 2 years since I had last reinstalled my system, but I still have my OneDrive that, like, I store, like, a majority of my information on. And so it had at least 5 years worth of data on that drive. And then I do the virus scanner and 0 threats found. Just don't go to stupid websites and you won't get viruses.
Exactly. and I'm with you, Jake, this is great for corporate networks, some places already do probably use a similar machine, but Norton's pretty good about making decent stuff, so I'm with you there, but small business would be good.
I wouldn't
again,
corporate.
See, the thing is, this doesn't like prevent hackers, it just prevents viruses, but a lot of hackers do get in through viruses and things like that. They do upload viruses, and so this will definitely help maybe spot threats and things like that. So there's definitely a good application for this.
I wonder how good the detection is on that thing, because
it's hard, man. Like, there's.
Did you hear about the HP issue lately?
No.
Apparently HP got caught with their Synaptics touchpoint drivers on their laptops.
Sure.
Apparently there was keyloggers accidentally left installed in the drivers.
Interesting.
Like, thousands and thousands of laptops had built into the touchpad drivers had keyloggers in them. And HP's just like, oops, yeah, we were using it for testing purposes, and I guess it just kind of got left in there. Oh. So I'm wondering if it would actually pick up on something like that, because that's
again, yeah, viruses are sometimes so hard to really detect. So, but again, a lot of good application for this that we'll probably see some really awesome stuff in the future from these things. So, wristbands. There's these wristbands that I was reading. They seem interesting. It's like it helps. It's an early detection to like track your baby's heart and things like that, and their temperature and stuff, so that if they apparently I didn't know, but they have a hard time keeping babies warm, so it like just sends an alert to you. So it doesn't keep them warm, but it sends you an alert that he's getting cold. So
that's just
seems all right.
Those things don't really work.
But here's the or you continue. Sorry, before we move on to the next one. So
yeah, my wife and I, we ended up getting it was something like that for our daughter when she was a newborn, and it was this little frog looking thing that you would put onto the onesie, and it was supposed to track all this stuff. And it would constantly send us alerts saying her breathing was irregular, and it's like we'd go in there and it's like, no, she's fine.
Dang.
And then it's like we'd just be like, okay, let's go back to bed, and then alert, breathing's irregular. She's fine. Shut the fuck up. Like, as long as you're a halfway decent parent and don't do stupid things like put your newborn into a crib with, a blanket, you're fine. just lay him down properly and do the right things. I mean,
Yeah, and it
I
sounds
don't
like this
know.
doesn't track breathing; it only tracks temperature. So
Yeah, which is, I mean, breathing is a little bit more important than temperature, in my
yeah, I'm
opinion.
with you there.
I mean, you don't want your child suffocating in there. I mean, they could be nice and warm and toasty, but then they're nice and warm and toasty because they're wrapped up in a blanket in the wrong way. But anyway,
Then we got the good one, the Nintendo Switch. It got a place here. It's a gaming console you can take anywhere, which it really is. Nintendo finally nailed it. They're back on top. I am a Nintendo fan. I'm an Xbox guy, but like they finally made a product that is actually making them money, and they're back on top with the games that they're releasing: Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild and the Switch, and how well all of it is selling. They're finally having they're in the green now or in the black now, so um, they're starting to make a shit ton of money again, which is nice because I think Nintendo is a very good company that should be around because it has a certain market. It controls a certain part of the game industry. Um,
yeah.
and again, they were I talked about it last year and things like that before Switches came out. Is that um, with Wii U sales and things like that, Nintendo hasn't made a profit in like it was like 7 years or something like that. Like they were really hurting. Um, but even with that, they had so much cash in reserves. Like they wouldn't go into debt or anything like that. They just had so much money that they could actually run the company for 10 years, 10 more years. So like until like 20, I think it was 2015 or 2025 was when they would start having to worry. So
Yeah.
pretty crazy, but like now they're making a shit ton of money again. So
Yeah, they sure
um football helmets. It's called the Vices 01. It's football helmets that are made out of what was it? Flexible polymer. So they work like car bumpers, which is interesting. So and it reduces force and sound and things like that of a collision immediately on impact. And it seems like there's still metal parts, but it's just more polymer built into it and things like that. So cool idea. Good thing for football players, I think. I think that's definitely something that's necessary. Although I think head injuries
are. It
have
looks like a
cut down.
motorcycle helmet.
It does, and they probably will make it for motorcycles. It's a totally great like application for it in reality. Like,
No.
um,
Well, I don't know if it'd be crash impact worthy, but
that's true too. But
that's a nice helmet. I mean, I'm still waiting for the helmets that have like the heads up display on them, like they
oh
had
yeah,
in
man.
what was that one movie with what was it, Arnold Schwarzenegger or something like that, where they like essentially have these stem cells that like you essentially just clone yourself and it transfers all your memories over to your clone's body. What movie was
I
that?
don't remember this movie. I don't know
Um,
if I've seen this.
Arnold Schwarzenegger clone movie? Yeah. The Sixth Day. Because it
Okay,
was supposed to be so originally the plot line was, yes, we're able to make human clones, but any clones that you make have to be eliminated after the sixth day.
got it.
And what the NFL was doing was that anytime there was like a major injury to one of their football players, they would just say, okay, we're going to clone the football player, transfer all the memories over, and then get rid of the football player's old body. But the
Sure.
way that it was originating, like the way that it was like shown to the people was that instead of like making a clone of yourself, like you weren't supposed to do that and do what the NFL was doing at that time. It was supposed to be where like if you were dying and you needed like a transplant or something like that, you would get a clone of yourself and then harvest the clone of yourself for the organ that you
Sure.
needed, and then you would eliminate the clone.
Got it.
Like that was how it was supposed to work. But then like of course, big corporations trying to make money and do shady shit behind closed doors. It was, and then like the whole thing about the movie that was that made it weird was that towards like the halfway point of the movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger meets the clone of himself and doesn't know if he's the clone or if the person that he's met is the clone. Because you've transferred the memories between them, so it's the
Yeah,
exact
they're
same
the same
memory, so
thing.
you don't know which one's the actual clone.
It's the whole
And
I gotcha.
I don't think there was actually any real way to tell in the movie.
Arnold
Which kind of made it
Schwarzenegger
weird.
did a bunch of things like that, like with the original freaking Total Recall. Same thing.
Yeah. Well, the one that kind of originated, I guess, was Blade Runner.
Yeah,
Like Blade
there's
Runner
that
did
too.
all that. So.
I love those movies, by the way, movies like that. But no, apparently the Vice's helmet is being used right now. Like it's already on 18 NFL teams and 20 college teams. So that's pretty cool. And it was made by actually a guy. So there's one guy, and then he brought it to one of the chair of the mechanical engineering department at University of Washington. So it's kind of cool.
Okay.
So this is an interesting one. Like again, really good concept. And we'll see what happens, which is the Green Wave 3D Ocean Farm. So it's the future of farming is growing oysters, mussels, and clams, and seaweed on ropes anchored to the ocean floor. They don't really go into much of how it works, but it helps greenhouse gases because it actually uses carbon to actually grow things. So it gets some of that out of the water, which then can absorb more carbon. Even the guy though doing it, he's like, there's not a lot of benefit to it right now though, because the truth is it'll be hard to get all the Westerners to actually get a diet of mollusks and seaweed. So, which is true, but it's definitely something that we can see maybe some other things like that in the future. So, and then number 1, fidget spinners. Best invention, and it's just the ultimate distractors, which is not wrong, but fidget spinners are nothing needed. Let's just leave it at that. So
you know the story behind the fidget spinner, right?
As in like what they were originally used for?
Or well, like originally like how they kind of came to be. It was this lady, I think it was in Florida. She created the fidget spinner and she patented it and everything. And then she went to Hasbro to try and make a deal to sell it.
Sure.
And Hasbro was kind of interested, but she didn't accept Hasbro's offer. Like, they weren't going to give her enough money for it. So she's like, all right, never mind. I'll just try and find somebody else. And then she never did, and then she let the patent run out and didn't renew it.
Dang.
And after that happened, the patent became just public, just a public patent. So a whole bunch of people were like, ooh, let's copy this idea.
Yeah. Man, you could have... what a simple thing to make so much money, man.
Right? Just renew the patent and then actually, like fuck it, go on Shark Tank or some shit.
Yeah,
I don't know.
right? Yeah, exactly. All right, well... That was the 25 best inventions of 2017 by Times. Next, we got 10 best gadgets. And some of these are the same, and some of these are pretty, just... Unless you really know. We'll just try and skim through these pretty quickly, because a lot of these are much more like... You need to be into it to really understand it. But, like, the Sony Alpha A7R III, which is a camera. So, new camera.
So sexy.
Which can shoot a ridiculous resolution, apparently. Apple Watch 3... more smartwatches. Those are a lot more. I'm looking to get into getting a smartwatch at some point. They seem interesting, but I don't know. Like, to me, there's not too much benefits to it. But Xbox One X is on here, so that's sick. I'm excited for that. I can now say I worked on it legally, so sweet. The Amazon Echo, which is the 2nd gen. Again, a lot of people know what that is. The Super Nintendo Entertainment System Classic. So it was obviously the SNES. They re-released it, and so apparently that made the list. They have the Samsung Galaxy S8, the DJI Spark again.
the original Nintendo Classic that they had out there before that like sold off the shelves like a ridiculous amount.
Yeah.
It went. The reason why it was so desired is because it was essentially just like a Nintendo emulator, and if you were able to like slide a memory card into it, you were actually able to run any NES game. It wasn't just
Well, that's
literally
kind of
built
cool.
into it.
That's nice.
So you could run like all the emulated games and shit, and it was essentially like um just Raspberry Pi built into like an NES looking case, and they
Sure.
pretty much did the same thing with the Super Nintendo one, and but they ended up stopping making them because Nintendo got really pissed off that it was actually able to emulate any game, and
Yeah,
there was
exactly.
no like controls over it or anything like that. And Nintendo's like, well, you guys didn't license these games from us, and they're able to be played on the system,
Sure.
you know, after free downloads and shit from any site. And they're like, no, we don't like that. That's one of the reasons why the Dreamcast, like, it took off way too fast because it was actually able to be an emulator as well. You were able to emulate anything. I think it was like Sega Genesis and earlier.
Yep.
Like, you could emulate any of it. It was insane. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad they still. I wanted to try and pick one of those up, never got a chance to. So, but they got the Spark as well again. The Microsoft Surface laptop is on here. IPhoneX, of course, and then number one is the Nintendo Switch. So.
Of course.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the? Oh yeah. Did you hear about the competitor to the Microsoft Surface? It's called like the Envy or something like that. Let's see. NVV, I think it was called. No, it was Envy tablet. No, was the Envy. Hold on.
On my list of things to talk about, I have 2 pages of stuff that we can talk about.
Oh, the Eve.
We don't have to go through all
That's
this.
Right.
We've made it to right here.
It's a tablet, just sort of like the Microsoft Surface. It actually runs Windows on it. And it's apparently like spec for spec, it's about $300 cheaper than the Microsoft Surface.
Dang. So sick. And that's the way. That's good. Competition is good.
Yes. And the really cool thing is, so the Microsoft Surface Pro 4 has one USB 3.0, one mini display port, a micro SD reader, a headphone jack, and then the docking and thing for the keyboard. Whereas the EV has 2 USB 3.1 Gen 1s instead of a single USB 3.0. It has one USB 3.1 Gen 1 USB-C, one Thunderbolt 3 USB-C, and a headphone jack and a micro SD card reader.
Okay. Sick. Damn.
So it's actually like it's got so many more connections to it. The
nice.
Resolution is exactly the same as the Microsoft Surface Pro 4. It's got a better contrast ratio, a little bit better brightness, and an anti-reflection coating. So if you don't like having, where it reflects the light of whatever, behind you, this has sort of a matte finish to it. The battery life is about twice as long as the Surface Pro 4.
That's also really nice.
It lasts for 10 to 12 hours.
Okay.
And it's got 4 speakers instead of 2. Surface Pro has only 2 speakers. And get this, the Surface Pro 4 is $2,350, right? The EV is actually $1,399.
Wow.
Yeah. That's they're the exact same spec, exact same processor, exact same RAM, exact same hard drive. Everything else is just better, and it's $1,000, almost $1,000 cheaper.
Yeah, that's the way you do it. I'll force Microsoft to kick up their game a little bit. Hell yeah. I like it. And
it's all crowdfunded. Like that's how it started. Was crowdfunding.
That.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So it's
man of the people. That's who they are.
But yeah, to have Thunderbolt like that, the Thunderbolt 3 connection, like that's freaking awesome.
Yeah. Sick.
But yeah, so that's that thing, which is freaking amazing. Yeah, it started on Indiegogo.
Oh, that's cool.
And I mean, $13.99. That's a decent price, but they have dropped the price of the Surface Pro 4 since this comparison was done. Surface Pro 4, I think, is quite a bit cheaper now. Actually, let me see. Microsoft Surface Pro 4 is going for what? Oh, that's the Core 3 one, not the i7 one. Let's see. Tech specs. Of course, it's out of whatever. Let's see. Surface Pro 4. Okay, here we go. Nope. I guess Amazon has it kind of. Well, no, that's the cheaper one. I don't know. They don't have the one on here. Maybe if I look up the 512. Oh, there we go. Surface Pro 4, 16 gigabyte RAM. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. So right now on Amazon, the one that they were referring to is going for $1,887. So 1,887, which is still like $500 more.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's quite a bit more. So.
Yeah. So
again,
there you go.
That's why you do it. That's why whenever you buy PCs, make sure you actually explore. Don't just get the ones you see in ads.
Yeah. I mean, like that's pretty much the one thing that's been in ads everywhere is the Surface Pro. It's like freaking NFL uses them on the field all the time, and then they have like their own tablet covers that say Microsoft Surface on the back of them in big bold letters, so you know. But whatever. There was something that I was going to talk about, but my brain just. Oh yeah, I was on Amazon, and okay, so, do you have like a Fire Stick or anything like that?
I do, yeah.
Okay, have you tried going on YouTube lately on the Fire Stick?
I have not tried going on YouTube, no.
Okay, if you look on the Fire Stick and you try and go on YouTube, it'll tell you, as of January 1st, you will not be able to watch YouTube on the Fire Stick anymore.
Man, YouTube does that. I also had an Apple TV. They got rid of YouTube on that too.
Yeah, so here's what happened. So originally the Amazon Fire TV Stick uses the same protocol as all smart TVs. It uses the exact same protocol. So you can use like Miracast from your phone or whatever, but then it has its own little OS built into it, so you can cast anything to it essentially. Whereas the Chromecast and the Apple TV use proprietary connections to your Wi-Fi. It's its own thing, so you have to have an Apple product to use Apple TV properly. You know, if you want to cast something from your phone or something like that. And for the Chromecast, you pretty much have to use the Chromecast feature instead of using a like a screen sharing or whatever, and you can't just load anything onto it. It has to be, you know, specific certain things. So essentially what happened was that YouTube, or not YouTube, freaking Google got all pissed off because Amazon wasn't selling their Chromecast, and they also weren't selling Apple TV's product, you know, just to be fair, because you couldn't install the Prime Video app to watch any Amazon Prime videos.
Okay.
Like, you couldn't. Like, so if you had an Amazon Prime subscription, you couldn't watch any Amazon Prime videos. So they were like, well, if we can't, you know, have our product on, like, if you can't watch our videos on your product, we're not going to sell it in our store. You know, you're
Sure.
going to have to find another way to distribute it, which they do. You know, they sell it through Walmart or whatever. But then Google got all pissed off about this. So they're like, well, if we can't sell our product in your store, then we're just going to disable YouTube for your product. So that's what they did. And
Sick.
so there's this like battle going on right now between Amazon and
I was
Google.
hearing that. It's like it's kind of a bitter feud between them right now. So,
so yeah, that's gonna be quite interesting.
we'll see how it ends. I mean, again, it just gets removed, and it's not a big deal. I mean, people can watch YouTube so many other ways. I mean, don't get me wrong,
Well,
you
yeah.
just have on your TV or whatever, but
yeah, it's nice to be able to like use a remote and like watch it,
Yeah.
but the only other way that you're gonna be able to watch it at this point is if you do like a screen share, like Mirrorcast,
yeah,
from
exactly.
your phone to the Fire Stick. So you can still do it. It's just you have to kind of have a workaround. You can't just have like the app
Sure.
on your home screen anymore.
Yep.
Which sucks, you know. But that's happening in on the 1st. So
Okay.
just
Good to know.
so people know.
And then Jake, to mention your thing, the Surface Book 2 is pretty good. They stuffed a GTX 1060. I didn't know they had a GTX 1060 mobile
In
into
certain models,
the
yeah.
higher end versions. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's sick.
No,
I mean,
if you
again,
use
there's
i7
nothing wrong. Like I think the Surface Books and stuff like that are good devices. So like
Yeah.
they're not bad devices at all. They're really good. So, but
The only
I'm
thing I
just
don't
again
like
with this
is-
other product out, like it's just good to have the competition because it'll force
It is.
Microsoft and force other companies to innovate a little bit, because as soon we see it all the time when they have no one to compete against them, everything kind of turns stagnant for something for a little while until a company all of a sudden comes out of nowhere with the thing that knocks everyone out of the park, and they're like, oh shit,
It's like the Intel
we
and
need
AMD feud.
yeah, exactly.
I
So,
mean, it's like you've got the Intel processors that Intel was sitting on, all this technology for Cannon Lake and Coffee
Yeah.
Lake for a while, and they were gonna just hold off on all the more advanced features like, more cores and all that stuff. And then it's like, oh shit, AMD is actually taking up market share because
Yeah.
they have a cheap processor that actually has twice the amount of cores as our high-end consumer processor. We gotta actually kick our butts into gear.
yeah.
And I'm actually really excited for what AMD is coming out with on the new Ryzen processor.
There's some
And
cool
so
stuff.
that Ryzen processors, like any processor that comes out between now and 2020, is going to work in any current AMD board, right?
Yep. And it's one of the reasons I
and-
actually got the AMD board that I
Platform.
have. So
Yeah. And yeah, actually, I have the exact same board as you in my gaming
okay.
system.
Cool.
But yeah, so the new processor is supposed to start out at like 4.3 to 4.5 gigahertz, which actually is going to be on par with what Intel is offering, and they're supposed to be actually allowing better overclocking too. But that's still to be seen,
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that kind of stuff. And I don't mess around with overclocking that much. I think I will soon here, but yeah, I don't do too much with overclocking. So
yeah, I'm at 3.89 gigahertz on my gaming computer, and then 3.7 on my streaming system.
okay, cool.
So, and they're both Ryzen processors. The one in the gaming system is 1600, and the one in the streaming system is the 1700. So, yeah. I like them. They're doing good.
Yeah, they are. All right, let's see what else we got. We got quite a bit. We got a few things that I can just side mention, things like that. Are you a Rainbow Six fan at all? Rainbow Six Siege?
I haven't played it. I probably would have been more interested if like the launch was a little bit better.
Yeah.
But it's like the launch just killed it for me. Like I heard so many horror stories about people not being able to connect to online games, not being able to play with friends.
Well,
it was
they
just really
I
bad.
think they just said that they're at 15 million players now, so they've got quite a bit of traction now, and they release new content updates every 3 months, which is kind of cool. But apparently they're releasing a zombies mode, maybe. So just a little side thing. There's a lot of stuff going on. This was before EA, but now after EA, France, UK, a lot of gambling corporations for countries are starting to look at loot boxes and other things like that as gambling. There's nothing yet. Most of them have ruled that UK specifically, I remember what they were saying is they ruled that because the thing that makes it gambling is that you can cash out. So the fact that you buy something and you get a random set of stuff, but it's not really worth anything after that point, like you can't resell it to someone else, like CSGO, and that's where CSGO might be a problem. And they might actually start cracking down on CSGO here. But because they don't have that in like EA or Battlefront or Fortnite or anything like that, it's not seen as gambling or Overwatch. Or they mainly were referencing Overwatch loot boxes in this. So, but yeah, there's a lot of concern about younger kids, 12 to 14, buying loot boxes like out the wazoo. And they're saying that if game companies don't watch it, they will start cracking down on it. So that's something to keep an eye out.
Wants to crack down on it.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of places that are like that. So Kenzie, you lurking? Cool. So I don't know. I'm definitely with that because I can see where there's a lot of ideas of people thinking it's feeding addictive behavior, which is very true.
Yeah.
But honestly, I also think that there's a hand in hand to it. I think it's the best way for microtransactions to go. Is loot boxes and things like that. They're all cosmetic items. Because if you do anything else, it starts turning into a harder way to control pay to win and a lot of things like that, which is harder for games to kind of manage. So
yeah, I'm not a big fan of the way that Star Wars Battlefront did their loot boxes,
and they're reworking it, and at least they're trying, but it may be too late already.
Yeah,
and they're doing all right. People are starting to get into it, but they're gonna come back up again. Is the thing, and that's a good step. I was this is a topic for maybe another time. I recently had a rant. I don't know if you were there for it, but I was talking about kind of good games that have come out in the last 10 years, or games that define, or genre defining games and things like that. And the fact is we haven't had that many like insanely memorable games anymore that have come out in from 2010 to 2017 and eventually the decade, right? 2010 to 2020. That there really hasn't been that many memorable. Dark Souls is one of them. But again, a lot of the series starting, genre defining games came out 2007. We actually ran through a list on my stream. We were just kind of coming out with all games that kind of started 2006, 2007-ish, 2008-ish. And it's pretty ridiculous. We've seen some of those series die off. We've seen some of those continue. And just big games that everyone remembers, and that we haven't really had much of that. And I think we're actually going to see another big boom of that soon. 2017 was a pretty good year for games. And I think we're going to start seeing some more. There's a few that have definitely stood out. Last of Us, for instance, is a huge one. Breath of the Wild is probably going to be one of those super memorable ones. Yeah, Skyrim is probably up there. Witcher 3 is another one that's pretty high up there, but like Skyrim.
The one that I want to see make a comeback is Burnout.
And I heard there's talks about it. I know they're talking about doing a new one. So
I really want that to come out because that was such a good game. Like Burnout Paradise City, I spent just so many hours playing that game. It was so good, and then they haven't made anything since Burnout Paradise. And to give you an idea, that was made in 2008.
Sorry, I had to go do something really quick. Say that.
Yeah,
last part
Burnout
again.
Paradise. Burnout Paradise came out in 2008, and they haven't made anything since then.
Yeah. So I'll run. I got out of Star Wars. No spoilers. We'll talk about Star Wars in a second. I actually have some news about Star Wars that will be interesting for you to hear. I want to know what their opening is, but yeah, there's a lot of games coming out, but a lot of games are so formulaic now, so nothing really stands out, which is really too bad. Indie games are what stands out. Cuphead is something that is one of those, another game that's actually super memorable, that will be around, that people will talk about for a very long time.
Oh yeah.
But here, well, to run you through just a quick list of the games we talked about. Again, we won't get too much into this. This is good for maybe another talk or something like that. I'll keep it on, because I went on like a 2-hour rant on just this. But to run you through the list: BioShock, Halo 3, Call of Duty 4, Uncharted, Mass Effect. What else did we have? Gears of War, I think. I'm pretty sure Gears of War. Let me double check. 2006, yeah. So 2006, Gears of War. What else came out then? Crisis.
Yeah.
And it was a big technological boom was what happened. Is games improved suddenly due to graphics and a lot of other things, and so there was a huge boom in that, and that's what caused a huge change. And I think we're coming up on that with the Xbox One X and things like that. We're gonna get some amazing games. The reason I brought this up was specifically Anthem. We're worried about Anthem, and this is how it ties into the loot box thing, and EA and a lot of things. Is EA now owns Respawn. Respawn is making Anthem, and Anthem is, or no, sorry, not Anthem, or not Respawn. Who are the people who make Mass Effect? Montreal.
Oh, Mass Effect. Wait, BioWare?
BioWare. There you go. BioWare. Montreal got shut down because of Andromeda. BioWare Edmonton is working on Anthem. And I think it literally could be one of the... It has the potential to be literally the best game of this decade. But it won't be, because of microtransactions and because of EA.
Yeah.
There was a lot, like, they were talking, like, before Battlefront came out, everyone was, like, worried about microtransactions, and they're like, nah, man, it's all good. And then EA came out, and then all of a sudden, EA comes out and they're saying, oh, hey, we're reworking all of our future games because of how we realized we crossed that line. We finally crossed the line of where we can push microtransactions. And they said that they're retooling. They got away with it
for so long on sports games.
Yeah, and so, but yeah, they said they're retooling Anthem because of it. So that worries me.
Well, I feel like the big thing was so sports games are mainly for people who are more casual gamers. It's not usually for like the hardcore gamer, because hardcore gamers are usually into things like Star Wars Battlefront or like like Call of Duty, things like that.
Yeah.
So those games, they were able to get away with, okay, well, we'll just make it cosmetic items.
Yep.
But then they started testing the waters with things like UFC and FIFA, and it's like, oh, well, people are actually paying for that, and we're not getting any backlash for it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Battlefront comes out, and the shit talking that's been going on for so long about loot boxes finally met up with the casual gamers, because Battlefront was more geared towards like a casual gamer.
Yep.
And it's like you've got two giant groups of gamers all of a sudden melding into one, and then they have this huge voice that when you speak with your wallet against a game company like that on a big release like that, it's heard around the world like it was. And so I feel like that's the main thing that happened to EA. It wasn't. Yeah. They were testing the waters.
They were the wrong company to do it at the wrong time. That's all it was.
Yeah, so, definitely the wrong time. And
there was a lot of other companies, and sadly, that was the way that games were heading. And there's a lot to it. And I have. We'll switch from. I'll talk about a different part that I have about microtransactions as well, because I think it's useful to note about why companies are doing what they're doing. So. And Dragon, that's not a bad way. Like, that's a good way to do it, is don't buy the games. The best way to change the practice is don't support the practice, I more do it I still buy EA games, not because I support EA, sadly. Like, the toss-up there is that I don't want to support EA, but I want to support the developer, right?
Yeah.
I want to support BioWare. I want to support Respawn. I want to support all these companies, but I don't want to support EA. But Dragon, I'm with you. Mass Effect wasn't a great game. It had great story, and that's why it's memorable to everyone. And people still talk about Mass Effect today. Not so much after Andromeda, but hey, whatever.
Yeah.
But no, to kind of transition, continue on microtransactions. We'll talk about the game industry, the market and this kind of leads into why, if you're curious why companies are going into microtransactions and why they're doing that, here's why. So currently, the game industry makes 3 times more money than the movie industry. They made $116 billion this year. The game industry market. Here's the kicker. 50.6 billion of that, so 43% of it, was mobile gaming. That's a huge fucking chunk. 33.3 billion, which was a growth of 3 or about 4%, is console gaming, and 32.3 was PC gaming. So suck it, consoles are still more popular than fucking PC.
Of course. Well, also PC games are cheaper.
And 27 billion of that was actually box games, so that means buying
I'm
games.
also wondering
like
where
that.
they're getting these metrics from, because like if they're going directly through like Steam, okay, you know, that grabs a lot of the indie developers, but there's also a lot of indie developers that are out there that aren't even on Steam.
And that's the truth. And
platforms.
these are just like preliminary estimates more than anything. So, $700 million has been made through esports, which is pretty cool. Esports is growing quite a bit because that's like 3 times or 2.5 times as much as they made last year or something. So that's awesome. Here's where it goes a little bit sucky. Hold on, I'm trying to... Oh, so I think this is related to... Oh God, I'm misreading this or something. Maybe it's just console and PC. Oh yeah, no, this is talking specifically consoles, I believe. Why games are starting to go towards microtransactions. Out of $30 billion, roughly, that consoles made, $8 billion of those were actually on the game. The other $22 billion came from microtransactions. So microtransactions are making about close to 3 times the amount than the game does itself. And that's why so many companies are going towards it, because honestly it's what's making money and people are willing to do it. And to relate it is I gotta praise Fortnite for it. Like, yes, I'm addicted to Fortnite, so maybe I'm a bit biased. But Fortnite actually didn't make as much money as PUBG has. But it's actually had it recently had more viewers than PlayerUnknown. But Fortnite is actually doing a great job with its microtransactions. It's not for the co-op PvE. It is a little bit pay to win, but it's co-op. It's not like you're playing against other people. You're just making your life easier, you know?
Yeah.
So it doesn't affect it, and that's why Fortnite is free, and that's why is like that will probably change now. Fortnite recently just came out with a battle pass, which actually has levels, and you actually get items and stuff when you level up. But you can also buy a pass that gives you even more items. Plus, you can buy V-Bucks, so they do have microtransactions in it, and they're doing it correctly. Because as I said, in the PvE, they do give you can actually get all the stuff just by playing the game. You can make V-Bucks. It takes a very long time though. So you can skip that, pay $10, and then get like 10 llamas that would normally take you freaking like a week to do. So it's not terribly long, but they give you a bunch of stuff for it. As well as in the PvP, it's only cosmetics. It's nothing else other than emotes and weapon skins and all that kind of jazz. They don't actually have weapon skins in it yet. I don't think they ever will. So, but random loot boxes are okay. Like there's nothing. For instance, Halo 5 did a great job. Now, the difference that Halo 5 is with random loot boxes is that you can't get items again. So you can't get... If you unlock a helmet, you can't get that helmet again from a loot box. So you unlock it permanently, and you can't get duplicates, which is kind of nice. Yeah. But there's a lot doing it. And companies are just not using... EA pushed it. Is what it is they tested the waters. They pushed it to see how far they could go, and they went over the line. So
they also made it so it was kind of useless to do microtransactions after a certain point, because it was anything that you had duplicates of were automatically turned into credits or whatever. But the amount of credits that you got back from the individual item was a lot less than like that potential space for an item was actually worth.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So there was like 4 or 5 items that would come out of a loot box, and then you would get like, what was it, like 150 or like 300 credits back when the loot boxes themselves cost like 10,000 credits. And it's like, so you're telling me that one out of either 4 or 5 spaces only got me back, 3% or 3%.
No, I got you. And it was ridiculous, and that's why they shut it down. Lucasfilms actually came out and said that they supported that decision to shut it down because they're like, it's about the fans. So that was good. I'm pretty happy about that they're okay with it. But yeah, Jake, there are a lot of armor variations in Halo 5. But you can get them all. I spent a little bit of money on microtransactions in Halo 5 to support the esports. A lot of the money that was made by it was actually went to the tournaments and things like that, which is cool. Which, by the way, the next tournament's in Seattle, the finals for HCS this year, which is... Okay, this is totally off topic. We'll get to it later, but Halo has... Or not even, this is just side comment. Halo has just came out and said they are repartnered with MLG. So Halo was one of the first games that was one of the original games on MLG, and MLG stopped supporting Halo. And they just came out today and said that they are repartnering with Halo. So, woo! Really excited about that. We will get a lot better tournaments and a lot more focus on retooling of the game and things like that, which is awesome. So, but that was a side thing, and the finals are in Seattle, so I will actually be able... I gotta get tickets or something, because this will actually be the first Halo tournament I've ever actually gone to, which is kind of cool. So,
the speaking of the microtransactions to support esports, that's what PUBG did, and I really like that.
Yeah, and it's a good way to do it. And they make so much money. It's amazing. It sounds like you think people aren't doing that much in microtransactions because you hear all the backlash, but again, the numbers show that companies are making 3 times more on microtransactions than they are the game itself.
And the crazy thing is that it's for cosmetic items too, which is the funniest part. It doesn't give you an advantage in the game whatsoever. It just makes your character look pretty.
I won't lie. I totally spend money on microtransactions for cosmetic. I used to not be like that. There was a phase where I did it and then I stopped because I was like, these are fucking cosmetics. I don't give a shit. But now I will buy like a set. I'll pay up like $25, get all the items I want, and then I just won't do it again. Because I'm like, these are the items I want, and I stick with them forever. So,
well, it's kind of funny because like last night I literally spent like $30 on keys for crates in Rocket League. I mean, it was money that I had earned from selling off items that I got out of the Gamescom Invitational crates in PUBG. So it wasn't like money that I was gonna be able to cash out anyway because it's stuck in Steam. But I used it to buy keys for Rocket League, and I have spent so much money on Rocket League, and I'm not even like the biggest fan of the game either. Like, I've been playing it a lot lately, but it's not like a game that I could really see myself playing nonstop for years or anything.
Yeah. But
Even
again,
though I've dropped so much in
the
it.
games that are doing it correctly, Fortnite started to go a little bit wrong. With the whole battle pass thing, like you can pay $10 to get extra items and things like that, but those are items that you can't get from playing the game, which is too bad. But it's the battle royale and it's the free mode, so
Yeah.
suck it up. Like you want to pony up the $10, you're getting to play their game for free. But Epic, they want cross-platform play, which is cool, but I'll get to that a little bit later as well.
Good luck getting it on PlayStation.
Yeah, no, it's all been the backlash from PlayStation. But Xbox is actually starting to outsell PlayStation now because of the X1X.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we'll see what
also,
happens.
Microsoft kind of did things right with having the cross-platform game playing. So you buy an item once inside the Microsoft store, and you can play it on PC or Xbox, and
yeah,
you can.
it's good.
You don't have to buy it twice.
So. But yeah, you are right, Andy, is that they would 50% of the microtransactions went to HTS. I was mentioning that earlier. But the tweet that you sent me about, I think I did. Which one was it? Let me check it really quick. Destiny 2. Oh, that's skeptical.
I'm gonna grab a soda.
All right. Did you? I don't actually see any. No, I don't think I see any. You didn't send me anything. I don't think. I don't have anything from you about Halo 5. I don't have any notifications, so no, I guess I didn't get it. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that was a while ago. The T squared Reddit with the green skull about Tanya. I haven't actually gotten time to watch the video, but yes, I do remember seeing it. I was talking to Green Skull just a few days ago, and yeah, I do plan on watching the whole thing, so I just have to actually get to it. So, yeah. But yeah, no, there's a lot of good things. So, anyways, while he's getting a soda, let me see if there's any quick mentions that I can throw out there really quick. New Tomb Raider. I don't know if you heard that. There's a new Tomb Raider movie, which, damn, she's cute. Just throwing it out there. And I'm a fan. I'm excited. I like the whole precursor Tomb Raider going on. As I said,
I like the way the direction they took with the series.
Yeah, and
they definitely worked on it.
No, the trailer doesn't look too good. I'm with you there, but I like the direction they're going with it. Is more of it. As I said, Epic Games wants cross-platform play. That was something that since we're on Fortnite, they turned it on by accident. I don't know if you guys remember that, but
yeah, I heard about
they
that.
turned it on by accident between PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, and they shut it off very quick. And I think we're going to get cross-platform play between PC and Xbox. There was a game. What game was it? I have it here because it was talked about in the Game Awards, I think. That was an announcement, I think. Sea of Thieves? Maybe? Yes. No. Yes. Yeah, Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves will be cross-platform between Xbox and PC, which Sea of Thieves is an Xbox exclusive. Fuck yeah! Excited for that one. So that's because that game's sick, and it's a little too late. Like it was supposed to come out a few months ago, but they postponed it, and everyone's really excited, but the hype for it's kind of died off. So, let's see what else to talk about. Esports.
I'm still really excited about it.
Yeah.
Like I saw the previews for it, and it's like, it's kind of like, what was it? Skull and Bones, that game coming out. That looks really awesome, and it's kind of weird. It's like Skull and Bones looks like the PUBG to Sea of Thieves being more like Fortnite.
Yeah, well, and yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much. All right. Destiny 2, talk a little bit. New DLC came out. I don't know if you're hearing about it. It's shitty. Wasn't like, it was fun. Only good part was Marina Bakurin, isn't it? That's sick, but it's terrible. They have one area that's a tiny fucking circle, and that's all you get for a new playable area. Like, oh, they have a new tower, new social space that we probably will never use again after this DLC is up. So sick. But and this was before, so this was something that the Destiny 2 director actually said before the DLC came out, is that there's not enough to do in the game. He even says, like, he was kind of knocking his own game, that he's like, the fact is that we made Destiny 2 not fun for hobbyists. Like, it's fun for casual gamers and things like that. Oh, and that's what I want to talk about, microtransactions, about doing it correctly. I'll get to that in a second. I'll get back to that, I should say. But, yeah, he's just said, like, there's not enough to do for the hobbyists. One of the things that went so well was Destiny 1 is that you had to grind for one weapon. You grinded one weapon to get the exact rolls you needed. Completionists, things like that. They had all these things that hardcore players can do, but the director was saying that Destiny 2 isn't, like, it's not made for hardcore players enough, and they're trying to change that. So in the next few updates, they're actually going to try and change and rework the system and with DLC in hopes to actually make it a little bit more better for hardcore fans, which they already fucked up with the new DLC. So awesome
That's
job, Bungie. Fuck you.
That's why I've been waiting on games before I buy them nowadays,
Yeah.
because there's just been so many titles lately that have been so disappointing.
Mhm.
It's like they look so beautiful when you
and trailers and stuff are so formulaic now. They can make it look so
and it's
good.
like,
So
and there's so much like info about it and everything that comes out ahead of time, and then the actual game comes out and it's like, okay,
Pretty
well, this was
lackluster.
fun for like a day.
you gotta
And, like,
watch that hype train.
I like the one that like really kind of started it, in my opinion, at least. The first game that I didn't purchase because I was waiting on the actual game to come out before and get some reviews first. Thankfully, was No Man's Sky. Like,
Yeah.
No Man's Sky was such a flop. Like, it had so much hype leading up to it, and then when it actually got released, a big major flop after like a week.
Well,
Everybody
it was
like,
just too repetitious. It was like, oh, this is cool, but their one selling point was the infinite generated worlds, and that's like, okay, that's cool, but then you realize
it's all just the same shit.
it is infinite generated,
sort of copy pasted.
but it's
and
the
it's
copy
like, here's some different colors
world
with all the
universe,
same
so.
shit, just different colors.
Yeah.
And the thing that like kind of threw me about it, and the main reason I didn't purchase it and I wanted to wait to see some reviews, is because I already had Elite Dangerous. And Elite Dangerous actually generates, I think it's 10 star systems per person that buys the game.
That's kind of cool.
So it's like, it's a constantly expanding universe, and it's like, one of the really cool things about it is that you get to do whatever the fuck you want in it.
Yeah.
Like, you literally can either go around, be a bounty hunter, or become, a freaking pirate. You can do one or the other. And NPCs will interact with you in the same ways as a normal player would. It's just a little bit easier to kill the NPCs than it would a normal player. Sometimes, depending on the ship. And then, like, you can also go around and explore and, like, literally collect the data of the star systems and bring it to other space stations to be like, okay, this galaxy, or this, like, solar system on this side of the galaxy has like these planets with these materials on it. If you find a planet that's habitable that hasn't been discovered yet, then you take that information, you bring it to a space station that's really fucking far away, and sell it to them, and you make a shit ton of money off of it.
Yeah.
And
so
there's
those
that
are awesome.
aspect.
What's that? What the shit's that game that hasn't come out yet that people wanted their money back and
Star Citizen.
Yeah, Star Citizen.
Star Citizen has so much money into it. Like, one of my friends has put over $550 into that game.
Yep, and a lot of people are asking for their money back because it's not out yet. So sick.
Well, the thing is like, because when they asked for backing on it, it was before anything had really been created for it. Like, there was concept ideas, but it was way before anything got created for it.
Yeah, it was supposed to release back in 2014. So.
Oh, before that.
No, that was the release date was 2014, I think, for the game. So that was what it was planned. But the Kickstarter was back in like 2011 or something.
Yeah,
so,
the Kickstarter was back in 2011. I actually got so to give you an idea of how long it's been for this game to get to release. I actually bought my R9 295X2 AMD video card back when it was brand new, and it came with Star Citizen for free.
Oh, that's
Like
kind of cool.
it gave you a ship. It gave you it pretty much gave you a starter pack that was worth like $60.
Okay.
And so I have the game. Like it's in my library. It's assigned to my account. Like I can log in at any time and download it. But I bought that, and I have since upgraded my computer and bought another computer, and like the game still hasn't, like the base single player mode of the game still hasn't been released.
Yeah.
The only thing that was available when I got it with my video card was some racing thing in it. Like you
Yeah.
could race the ships. And now they've got some like battle simulator thing where it's like
They've got a few things in it, but it's still like,
yeah.
and again, games are
There's
kind of
a-
catching up to it, so people don't really care about
Yeah.
it anymore. It's really
It's
too
like
bad.
there's a specific zone that
fucked
you
up.
can do battles in. There's the first person shooter aspect of it, which is kind of cool. And then there's like the open world area that you can't really do shit in besides do like a little bit of exploring of like these space stations that are abandoned.
Yeah.
And like that's pretty much it. Like there's no real progression system in it right now because you get a currency in the game for doing things, but that currency is literally used to rent ships, not buy them. You can rent and try out ships. The only way to have and own a ship in the game is to actually pay for more money into the game to get the actual ship for yourself.
Yeah, I remember
And,
that.
A lot of the ships start at like like a lot of the halfway decent ships start at like $150, and some of the larger ships are like $10,000.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck? And a lot of the ships aren't even in the game yet. They're selling these ships, and they're like, well, when it's actually put in the game, then you'll get it.
Yeah, and again, that's
Like,
why
what
people
the
are
hell?
asking. So many people ask for money. They owe a lot of people some money, I think. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at their website, I'm actually going to go to it right now. I think it was $168 million has been raised for it so far.
yeah, no, it was a lot. But Andy, to go on your note really quick, like that's kind of my expectation with everything now. Sadly, Anthem, I've had two really big like ones where I actually got excited for and they flopped, or well,
Mhm.
I've have two. One of them was Dark Tower, the movie. I thought that was actually going to be like the movie of my movie of the decade. It could have been so good, but they ruined it. So that one was I was
Yeah.
very disappointed in that one actually, and but I don't really ever get high expectations for games. I avoid the hype train because you always end up disappointed, and I'm trying to avoid it with Anthem, but I see so much potential for Anthem, and I really don't want them to fuck it up, but I think they will. So, and it's too bad. So
Yeah, the movie that got me was actually a movie that I got for free because I acquired it through means other than
Sure.
whatever. 3 months before it was supposed to be released in theaters,
sure.
and it was the Dead or Alive movie,
Oh yeah,
and I wanted a refund of my time.
yeah,
it
I
was that
remember
bad.
that.
I
I think you
wanted
told
the-
me
I-
about that at TwitchCon.
Yeah, at
So-
TwitchCon, yeah. That was such a bad movie. And the only one that I could like kind of compare it to was like I would say that it's that the only movie that was sort of in the same genre was Mortal Kombat 2, and I would say Mortal Kombat 2 is actually better than that movie. And Mortal Kombat 2 was bad.
Yeah.
You know it was
yeah,
bad.
it was.
But yeah, and like as far as the games go, like I kind of got had with I would say the Tom Clancy Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Yeah,
Like it was a good looking game, but just no substance for
yeah,
anything
and that's
after you finished it.
again that was like a silent sleeper though. It was 2016 or this year or I can't remember. It was one of the top 5 selling games or something.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. Like
Yeah, because it looked beautiful. It had it had all the features and everything, but then it kind of went the way of freaking No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
It was like it was a beautiful game. It worked well. It played well, but then there was just no substance after you beat the game, and it was
Sure.
like, okay, well, that was great for about a week, and then you go on to do something else. The Division did the same thing to me.
Yeah,
Although the Division has been coming out with a lot of
yeah,
updates
dude.
lately.
Well, I recently, because my I tested Microsoft on the Xbox One X, and it got me back into it because there's all this new shit, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So I got myself from, because now they have world rank, right? I got my character from world rank 1, or no, I was at 2, and now he's at 4, and I think I actually unlocked 5 recently. So, yeah, they came out with a lot of really cool stuff for it. So,
Yeah. No, it's definitely coming back, and it's like I know that they kind of started with Siege first and like got Siege back into the limelight sort of thing, and it really has made a comeback. And I know a lot of that had to do with the free to play weekends. Because they were like, well, yeah, we had a shitty release, but we want to show you that the game is now fixed, so here's a free to play weekend, and they would allow you to play the game, and then it's like, okay, well, I actually do like this game, but I'm not going to buy it for full price because it's an older game, and then they're like, oh, by the way, there's a sale, and then it's like, oh, well, shit, I'll buy the game now. And then they really brought it back doing
yeah.
that. And the crazy thing about Division, though, is that when I first started playing the Division, there was these queues that were set up. Like at first, it was like you just couldn't get into a game because so many people were playing it. You know, when it first came out, and then they set up a queue system.
I remember that.
Yeah, and the thing that surprised me was that I played it last week, and I actually had to wait in queue.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if it's I don't know if they
people,
scaled
maybe.
back the amount of servers or what, but yeah, it's made enough of a comeback that I actually had to sit in a queue.
That's impressive.
So, yeah.
Tom Clancy games are silent sleepers, man. Like, so many people
Yeah.
buy them. They make, again, Division, Siege, Wildlands, like, they make so much money because I don't know if it's the brand or what, because, like, you don't hear people talk about them that much, unless it, like, except for when they first release, like, but they still do so well over time. It's like Diablo and things like that are just constantly doing well, and you just never realize it, so...
Well, I mean, it's so weird because like you would think that a game that's as old as Rainbow Six Siege wouldn't be as popular as it is, but it's actually more popular on Twitch right now than Rainbow Six or than Grand Theft Auto.
Yep. Yeah. It's very highly competitive is why. So,
And
realistic shooter,
even
which is nice.
Even the Division is doing well. Division is doing better than RuneScape right now.
Well, I mean, RuneScape hasn't been doing well for a while now. But
yeah, but I mean, it's doing better than Minecraft, and I know a lot of people watch Minecraft.
Oof, yeah, that's true. So.
I mean, it's like it's doing better than Getting Over It, but then again, Getting Over It, like once you beat it, it's like okay.
Yeah.
But beating it is like the hard part.
Yeah. All right, let's transition. Really, so I want to talk about Game Awards, but there's a lot of things in there. So before we do, one side statement. Apparently, people are predicting that Overwatch 2 will come out 2020. We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised. It's quite a while. Yeah, again, I don't know if it'll even be that long, but we're gonna switch into movies for a little bit here. I've got a few things to mention. Oh, actually, right before we do, we'll transition with this cool little thing. That little just note. We had our first interstellar visitor. In our solar system, we had a rock. A rock outside of our solar system actually came into our solar system really fast. Like, it went in and exited all in the course of like 4 seconds or something.
Wow.
But it's the first interstellar visitor that we have ever had, and it kind of blew scientists' mind because it was shaped like a cigar. So it was an asteroid that was shaped like a cigar, and it shaped weirdly for some reason. There wasn't much info on it, but so little factoid for you, cool thing. Movie-wise,
there's no alien signals from it though.
No, sadly not. As far as we know. We got
Yeah, they could be transmitting on a
Yeah,
wavelength that
exactly.
we can't know how to receive
Man,
yet.
outside of the solar system, who knows what happens?
Yeah,
So
maybe just somebody got lost, going between different galaxies, and everyone's like, no, 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 don't go towards that one. Oh shit, my bad, I'm out.
yeah.
I took a wrong turn at that other star.
Well, I recently watched some of the Cosmos with Neil deGrasse Tyson, the reboot. Some really interesting things of like how life travels and things like that, which is pretty cool. So
Yeah.
all right. So here we go. One that's been too many years in the works. Incredibles 2. It got a release date. I think it's May something. I didn't write it down for some reason. Release date. Here we go. June 15th.
June.
So June 15th, Incredibles 2. We have a release date. They came out with the trailer where they
trailer was
realized
funny as shit.
the baby has powers. So
Oh yeah.
there you
Well,
go.
the baby had powers at the end of the first one.
Yeah, they just didn't realize it. Yeah, was the problem. So there's that.
Oh, can I take a quick step back to video games for a second? Though?
Yeah, sure.
There's a Jurassic Park game coming out soon that I really am excited about.
But that's
Have you
gonna
seen
be
it?
bad though. I haven't seen it, but
So the Jurassic Park game is made by the same people who made Planet Coaster, and it's going to be a theme park simulator with Jurassic Park.
oh, okay, that's probably all right. That'll be all right.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
you actually have to like keep the dinosaurs separated, and you have to like make sure that they're not getting too aggressive or attacking the fences and things like that. Like it looks
That
really
sounds pretty
fucking cool. And it's made by the same people who did Planet Coaster, and Planet Coaster is a pretty cool ass game.
Yeah.
So
I
think
it's
gonna be awesome.
So,
All right. So anyway, back to
video movies.
movies.
So we'll
Black
get on
Panther.
the Star Wars. Oh my God, Black Panther. Oh Lord.
Yep. Can't
God-
wait for that one.
God damn. Damn, I'm so excited. Black Panther is gonna be the most badass Marvel movie.
But the
So excited.
one to see, the one that you absolutely have to see, and the trailer looked amazing for, was Ready Player One.
I have seen that. Yeah, I
Oh
saw
my
that.
God.
Yeah, that was
That was so trippy, and
Yeah.
like it's who wrote the book again? It was let's see, Ernest Cline.
remember.
Let's see. Let's
Ernest Cline. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's actually on board with the film adaptation. Like he's actually
yeah, he's
he
working
co-wrote
on
the
it and stuff
screenplay.
like that. So that's good. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Ready Player One is gonna be so fucking good.
yeah, that was a mind trip watching that. News. So we talked Tomb Raider for a little bit, but
Yeah.
Star Trek news. Tarantino might be writing it. There was interest, and he's following, and he got approved. He went to them and says he wants to make an R-rated, and Paramount Pictures and stuff agreed. So we might be getting an R-rated Star Trek by Tarantino. But yeah, not writing. He pitched, and he's looking over the script, and he decided he might want to be on the project. So we'll see. Sounds
like it's gonna be
interesting.
good.
But yeah, he doesn't. It's rare for him to not write the script, but it does happen. So, and usually they're pretty good. They turn out pretty good. So, for sure it'll be.
And his film style is amazing.
God, Tarantino.
And
is
I'm wondering if he's actually going to adapt it and like make it sort of like fit into the Tarantino universe, or if he's going to leave it separate, like it's because you know about the Tarantino universe, right?
yeah, the whole thing
Yeah.
where it's all linked together and things like that.
Everything is interconnected. Like there's two universes. There's one that's like the Tarantino universe that is actually like the real life one, and then there's the Tarantino universe that is the film universe that the people in his regular universe would go and watch those films.
Yeah.
So like Kill Bill would be a movie that the people in Pulp Fiction would go watch.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of I'm wondering if he's gonna do any sort of adaptation that way, or if he's just gonna like
well,
be sort
again,
of on
since
the
he's
sideline
not
with
writing
it.
on it, again, he's producing and he is looking over the screen, right? So he'll probably edit and things like that. But we'll see what happens again. But yeah, what you
Yeah.
said, Andy, is that he's only done 8 movies right now, and he's in pre-production for his 9th, and then Star Trek would be his 10th, which would be kind of crazy.
Oh.
It's crazy. He hasn't made that many movies, but God, they're so good.
Every one of them are amazing.
Yeah, they're incredible. He's just one of those guys where he won't do a project unless he knows it's gonna be his, and it's gonna be amazing. So,
unlike Kevin Smith, who like he does amazing movies, but he also does really shitty ones.
Yeah, it's like
Jersey Girl.
It's like what's his face? Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage makes one amazing movie for every 5 movies.
Yeah.
For 5 shitty movies.
Yeah.
So,
but he's still, in there. He's still doing it.
So, and next one, I actually want to show the trailer to because I don't know if people have seen it, but this was pretty cool. It's called Batman Ninja. I don't know if you've seen this yet, but
Batman Ninja.
It's an anime thing. It's I think a Japanese adaptation or something, or China adaptation. But I'll show the trailer for it. So we'll just I'll take me off in just a second here. So we'll just be quiet and watch for a second.
Watashi ni wa nani mo nai to omotte ita. Hero ni hitodoroshi wa dekinei. Dakedo ore ni wa omae ga koroseru nda yo. Batman.
So there you go.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah. So and it's by the guy writing it, or the screenplay writer. I think it was screenplay writer. Is the guy who did Afro Samurai. Also people who did like Kill la Kill and a lot of other things like that. So, and I'm not an anime person, so I actually haven't watched Kill la Kill, but I know it's one of those that everyone recommends. So
that looks really fucking good. The last Batman movie that I saw that was animated was The Killing Joke.
Yeah,
that was a good movie.
Yeah, I heard it was a little bit of a letdown, but yeah, it was good.
I thought it was really good because it really gave you sort of a backstory to the Joker instead of, just being another Batman versus Joker sort of scenario. It actually kind of gave you an idea of where he came from, which I think was pretty cool.
But Andy, I actually just started rewatching Justice League, and I actually haven't gotten around to watching Young Justice, but I know that's something I will be getting to. But yeah, I just got through the first few episodes of Justice League, the animated, and yeah, So they demand Flashpoint again. If you haven't seen DC's animated Flashpoint, holy shit!
Yeah.
And they're thinking Flash, that solo Flash movie. We don't know anything about it, but everyone's hoping it's a Flashpoint. Pull that out of their pocket, make it sick, and it's a good way to get
Flashpoint
because
changed so
they're
much,
thinking.
though.
They're thinking about getting rid of Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. So,
Well, he didn't even want to do the new one.
No, and that's why it's like he's gonna be in the solo Flash film, but he might not. I don't think they're talking. He might not be in the solo Batman film. So Flashpoint is a good way to just switch him out.
Yeah.
So,
Well.
but yeah, cell shaded Batman, cool as fuck, right, Jake? I'm with you. I'm excited. It actually looks really good. The Batman.
I'm just kind of really curious what Marvel's going to be doing pretty soon here, because I know.
You're right, Andy. You're right.
Freaking Robert Downey Jr. is going to be getting out of being Iron Man.
Wait, did he actually say he was?
He wants to. I know
he
talked
was.
About it.
He said that. I heard, like, that's what he said originally because his contracts and stuff were up. Contracts are weird in Marvel now because people are doing more movies than they were supposed to, than they signed on to.
Yeah.
But
it's like
he
Chris
said,
Evans. He wasn't supposed to be doing it.
Yeah, Chris Evans, I know he wants to be a director. He actually doesn't want to be Captain America forever. He doesn't act outside of Marvel. He has done a few other movies because Marvel made deals with those companies to get their help on certain Marvel movies if they got use of Chris Evans. So, like Snowpiercer was because the company that did Snowpiercer worked on the first Avengers, I think, or the second one. I can't remember.
I guess the latest from Robert Downey Jr. is it said he'll quit Marvel Iron Man before it's embarrassing.
Got it.
So,
which from what I've heard, Robert Downey Jr. says he will be Iron Man forever if they keep doing it well, which is from the sounds of it. Which, I mean, that sounds like anything. Is get out before they fucking ruin you, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of people. Writer gave a huge comment saying that whenever he writes the character, he can't do it without thinking about Chris Evans. That's awesome. Yeah, and I mean, Chris Evans is picture perfect Captain America of just how he looks and everything, man. He's perfect for it. Let's be real. But
he is, yeah.
and I think that's one thing that Marvel has always done an incredible job with is their casting. They have always casted incredible people for their roles, and I think it's one of the reasons they're so successful as they are, because their characters always feel like the actors always feel like the characters they're portraying. It's pretty crazy. So,
yeah.
Did I see Thor 3? Yes, I saw Thor Ragnarok. It was more of a comedy than anything else. It was the most comedic Marvel movie. Everyone was saying it was like their favorite. They're like top 3 favorite Marvel movies. And I was like, I mean, it was funny. A lot of it seemed a little forced, and it was a good movie, and it was one of the most comic book accurate movies. But I don't know. I don't know if I'd put it in my top 3. So they did a really good job with Ragnarok as it being accurate and because again, one of the things that I watched a great video about why DC is fucking up, and one of the things that Marvel does is they took Thor Ragnarok and they're like, here's Revelance. They took Planet Hulk, and then they took some Thor Ragnarok, and then they took some Infinity War, and then they just took all this and they just clumped it together, and they're like, here, make Thor Ragnarok out of all this shit. Whereas DC, the guy was saying that he believes the directors of the DC movies haven't read more than 2 comics, and they don't know, and then it's one of the reasons they're having a hard time doing it. So,
well, DC's never really stuck with canon per se when it comes to their movies. That's one of the things that's really been failing with them, and I mean that's also one of the reasons why Fantastic Four could never really stay together as, you know, its own thing. It should have been sort of the beginning to proving that Avengers style movies can make a lot of money. And then look at what happened with Fantastic Four. It just fucking died out. I mean, they recast it so many times.
Well, I have a thing about that. First, I'm going to mention Andy. Yeah, Whedon said he wasn't able to save Justice League. He was like, I tried. I couldn't save it. But he's working
Yeah.
on a lot of the other stuff, and I love Whedon. He's done incredible works. There was that whole thing about the whole sexist Wonder Woman that he had. That was a little bit sketch, but I mean that's one thing in a huge script. Whatever. But Whedon does an incredible job, so I'm excited for the new stuff. He said he was brought in too late to save it, sadly. But Disney just bought Fox. I don't know if you heard this, but this is finalized as of today. Disney now owns Fox. So that means they technically own the rights of Fantastic Four again? And X-Men? So interesting.
Yeah.
So now there's going to be a
Oh.
lot more cooperative between Marvel and Fox. So that's a huge thing that we might actually get a new good Fantastic Four.
What I think is really funny is now that this merger is happening, it's going to take like another year for it to actually go through. But
yeah, sure.
that means that any xenomorph born from the xenomorph queen are now Disney princesses.
Hey!
Aliens are now fucking Disney queens or Disney princesses.
That's funny. Yeah,
It was
well,
actually really funny.
yeah, and
picture of
that's
that.
why it's good. There's also word that sadly, Hugh Jackman will not go back to Wolverine. He said that he'd been hinting that if Fox and Marvel could get their shit together and they made a co-op between, he's like, every time he watched an Avengers, he could see himself fighting with the Avengers or doing something like punching one of them in the face or some shit. He didn't know. But he now said that now that with the merger, he's kind of like, it may be too late for him to do it. He's like, he's in full support of someone else taking up the mantle and throwing him in there, but he's not really willing to go back to it, which is really too bad, man. He did end on an incredible note. Logan is one of my favorite superhero movies ever.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit, that movie was incredible. So,
But isn't that the last Hugh Jackman Wolverine?
yes, yeah, that was the last
Yeah.
one. So,
Yeah.
Fox and Disney is a huge, though it limits competition in film box. Yeah, because they're some of the biggest. But that's what's crazy is Fox is one of the biggest blockbuster Hollywood like companies out there, and Disney just fucking bought them. Disney has that much money, man. That's fucking insane. There's actually talks about certain people actually putting limits on how much Disney can control because they're actually slowly taking over the world. It's kind of scary. Disney will be our overlords one day. But yeah, so that's new news about that. I was actually gonna save Marvel topic for another day, but man, Infinity War, whoo boy, whoo! I'm so excited, and there's already insane. The trailer broke records for how many people watch it and things like that. So,
Hey, maybe we'll get Firefly finally.
yeah, right. Oh my god.
Wouldn't that be great if Disney actually revived Firefly?
Oh my god. Please. But yeah, no. Again,
And
Disney
with that
now owns
merger,
Fox.
they can finally do Blu-ray releases of the original Star Wars movies.
Like you said, they own a lot of TV. Like Fox Network is a thing, and now Disney owns that. Like that's fucking crazy. Disney does a pretty good job though of leaving companies alone. Like
Yeah.
I think they bought them because it's good to work with Marvel, and there will be a lot more cooperation there. That's what they'll push for. But if you notice, they just started recently actually putting their names in Marvel movies. They used to not even do that. Like you wouldn't even see their presence in Marvel movies, which is pretty crazy. So apparently Fox approached Disney. What? That's insane. Either way, man, that's crazy. Like that's a huge damn. That's fucking insane that a company like Fox just got bought up by another company, a company that huge. So, well done, Disney.
$52.4 billion.
Yeah. But we'll talk. So that was Marvel. I'm excited. We could talk more Marvel another time. Predictions about like who the next 10-year setup villain will be, because there's a lot of that going around. Is with Fantastic Four and X-Men now on the table. the next 10 years, because Infinity War's coming out, a lot of people are going to die. A lot of people will be brought back to life and then die again, and a lot of other shit like that. And we'll see what ends out in the turmoil. And this is perfect. Like, as you were saying, a lot of people are out. Chris Evans is probably out of Captain America, although Anthony Mackie can take it up.
Well, the cool thing is that with this Fox and Disney merger, like they're gonna be able to actually like bring all the things together to actually do. Didn't Marvel have like a version of Flashpoint that happened to them that essentially like reset a whole bunch of characters?
Yeah, Infinity War.
Yeah, that's
Well,
right. Infinity War.
Well, sort of. Really, it was. I mean, they had. Man, time travel happens a lot in Marvel Universe. They had it with Ultron and a lot of things like that. So, Secret Wars. There you go. That's what it was. Secret Wars. But yeah, they've had a bit of time traveling back and forth. So there's a lot. Superhero is kind of a revolving door with death. So.
Yeah, so it's like they'll be able to, reset character. They just essentially have to be like, okay, well, we're gonna recast everybody and start from scratch, and then it's like, okay, well, I guess we're gonna be doing this movie now just to do one final hurrah of these guys, and then we'll bring on new actors.
Well, I remember the Ultimates universe for Marvel was that, yeah, like Fantastic, Mr. Fantastic is literally a giant ship in space or some shit, and he's a god. Yeah, they did some weird things with it, but that's interesting that it's because Fox had some outdated tech and things like that, but and changing characters back to where they were before, that's interesting. But again, yeah, movie-wise, like cinematic universe, there's going to be a lot of changes. Again, Infinity War is a perfect time for people to jump out. And people to stay in. Like it will be a deciding factor. I've given my theory on what happens. I think pretty much everyone's gonna die in the very first Infinity War. Scarlet Witch is gonna have a absolute meltdown because she's been primed to have one, and it's going to reset reality, reset time, and then people who were there aren't there anymore, and new people like Carol Danvers will be in there, things like that. So there'll be a lot of back and forth going on. They actually just talked about casting the first Captain Marvel, which I can't remember who it was. What was his name? But it was just the person who transfers the mantle to Carol Danvers later on. But yeah, I mean, the way that I see it is Hawkeye's going to die. It's going to set Scarlet Witch to blow up. She's going to reset reality. And then maybe, again, they want to get rid of Hawkeye in Avengers 2. Maybe he still won't be in there. And now it'll just be like, she'll, like, all of a sudden come out of her room and be like, hey, who are all you people? And also, where's Hawkeye? And they'll be like, who's Hawkeye? We don't know. Yeah. We've never heard that guy. And then she'll be like, what? So, that's kind of the thing with that. But yeah, Blu-ray releases in HD, like, and Energy mentioned that as well.
Yep.
There's a lot of shit with Infinity War that's gonna be pretty crazy. We're gonna see a lot of actors leave and a lot of new people come in. So if you want to get into the acting, you're too late. People are probably already starting to get lined up for it, and it's too late to start your career. Not really. They actually chose, like, Tom Holland was a relatively newer actor, which, goddamn, he's a great Spider-Man. But since we mentioned Star Wars, good time to mention new Star Wars is out. Andy, you said you watched it. I hope it was good. I hope it wasn't just a copy of Return of the Jedi or any of the other ones like they did with Force Awakens. I gave Force Awakens a pass because they were trying to get people reinvested into the series. So, it was alright, good to know. But there's a lot of talk. It's gonna have a staggering opening weekend. No surprise there. They already predicted, like, last week, the ticket pre-sales were already up to $435 million. So,
oh wow.
Pretty crazy. It's conflicted.
Holy
okay.
Crap.
The news that I have for Star Wars, though, is Daisy Ridley, the person who plays Rey, is actually thinking about leaving Star Wars. She signed on to do 3 movies, and from what the executives have said, Whatever it's called, the Star Wars. It's not Lucasfilms, whoever those people, I can't remember. But they want to actually expand the characters. They want to expand Rey. They want to expand Poe and Finn and all that beyond the 3 movies. She says that she is not. She may be done. She doesn't know if she wants to continue with it. So again, we still will get another that 3rd movie out of her. We'll get the trilogy, but she may be gone after the 3rd movie. So they'll probably just focus on Poe and Finn, which, to be honest, they're way cooler characters. So
yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of like what Harrison Ford had said about the original 3.
Yeah.
He didn't really want to do any more than that, but he did it anyway because, money. But
all the articles saying, looking at, she said, clarifying she doesn't want to leave. Right now, I'm guessing what she said was like, she's like, she doesn't know if she wants to leave is probably what she said. She's like, because again, Star Wars has literally made her career. She might want to go expand her career onto other things. It was the same thing that happened with, dude, I'm blanking on names right now. What was the guy who did the latest James Bond? Freaking, what's his name?
Oh, shit, I forgot his name. James Bond was
Craig, Daniel Craig.
Yeah,
Daniel
Craig.
Wait. No. Yes? Daniel Craig.
Was it Daniel Craig? Yeah.
Daniel Craig.
I think
right?
it was.
Yeah, Daniel Craig. It was the same thing with Daniel Craig, where he kind of came out and was like, "Hey, fuck." He's like, "Nah, man." He was kind of like, "I'm done with James Bond. I hate it." Like, and everyone took it as like, "Oh, he fucking hates James Bond. He's not gonna his own movies. He wants to leave." He's like, "No, I'm thinking of moving on with my career. That's all." Like, that's all he was saying, and that was probably his direct quote. When I did sign up for 3 films, and that's where I sort of saw the story ending. I think everyone has perhaps taken that as me going, if I don't want anything to do with it, which is very untrue. Yeah, again, news came out midway through the year, and they quieted down ever since no news has come out. Dang. But no, I'm guessing it's the same thing as what happened to Daniel Craig, is people just misconstrued Daisy Ridley's thing. But
wait, Daniel Craig has done 5 freaking Bond movies. No, 6 Bond movies. No, 5.
5.
Yeah, 5 Bond movies.
007, Quantum Solace, Skyfall,
Casino Royale,
Skyfall. Well,
Spectre.
Spectre. Yeah.
No, Bond
Casino
25 is gonna be.
And
He's gonna be Bond 25.
But yeah, they haven't said anything about that. But no, he's only done 4, and then he gets this one more movie, so he's doing Bond 25.
Yeah, he's doing Bond 25. But
again,
Pierce
like
Brosnan
Andy
only
said,
did
is
4
they haven't said anything about it yet. Is that there's not a lot of news about it yet. So, but no, my point with bringing up Daniel Craig was the fact that Daisy Ridley probably just fell into the same trap where people just misconstrued her ideas, which, again, it's one of those that's more like they don't know if they want to stay on the path they are on. They're dishing out the Star Wars movies really fast because they knew it was going to be a trilogy, so they filmed them all at once. But a lot of these processes take many, many years, and people want to move on to other things. So we might get more Daisy Ridley and other things, but just throwing it out there that she was talking about potentially looking at other things. But yeah, again, it apparently came out as like she signed on for 3 and she didn't know that they were going to do more. So, but again, it doesn't mean she doesn't want to do it, but again, just consider that she might not. Like Chris Evans and a lot of the other people there. So
the Bond 25 is gonna be released November 8th.
Oh, okay. Daniel Craig's a
2019.
rumor. I know. I mean, from what I remember when Spectre came out was that they said that he was going to get one more movie, but again, that totally can change. That's not a set in stone thing. They can do
Yeah, in
whatever
October
the
of
fuck they
2016,
want.
Craig said he may indeed return for another film, saying, "As far as I'm concerned, I've got the best job in the world. I'll keep doing it as long as
he's
as
confirmed
I
for
still
25.
get a kick out of it."
Yeah.
And in August of 2017, Craig confirmed that he would reprise his role as Bond.
Cool. There you go.
So
we'll get one more out of
it's going to
him.
be released November 8th of 2019.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, so Pierce Brosnan only did 4 Bond movies. I feel like he was a pretty damn decent Bond. Timothy Dalton only did 2. Sean
There's a
Connery
lot.
only did 1.
Yeah,
No, Sean Connery did. Sean Connery did 5, and then
5?
there was
Oh.
George Lazenby, and then he did Diamonds, and then Sean Connery
Yeah.
did Diamonds Are Forever.
Yeah, there's a lot of Sean Connery, man, everyone loves him. So.
But yeah, Timothy Dalton only did 2, so it's like, you can't really expect everybody to keep doing Bond. I mean, it's
No,
it's a
and
nice...
again, they choose again. It's partly the age thing. Once you get too old to really play them, you can't, right? Like there's a certain look that you have to be for them, and so there's a lot of that. But yeah, a lot of people want to move on. Again, how long has since the last Bond came out, right? Like some people just they want to move on to other things. They don't want to do those kind of movies anymore. So there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, Daniel Craig started in 2006, and his last one's going to be 2019. I mean, that's 13 years of being Bond. That's a longer lifetime than anybody in any sort of sports, and being a Bond is kind of like being in a sport because you've got to do all these stunts and you got to, do everything. You can't just kind of like sit back and just act the part away.
Yeah.
You actually have to do a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
And so like being Bond for 13 years, that's insane. Like I would not want that to happen to anybody.
Yeah, it's crazy. But reason I say conflicted Star Wars 8 is because it's moments where it left you in awe, but then others were like, what the fuck? No surprise there. That's kind of how Star Wars is.
Yeah.
So, but I'll have to go see it myself.
And then fan
hopefully this
theories will
weekend,
come out
so.
about it, and
Exactly. So, all right. Let's quickly. I think we'll wrap it up with talking about the Game Awards. So this, I'm gonna just run through really quick. If you weren't at the Game Awards, there was a lot of categories. Here were just some of the highlights. Or not at the Game Awards, but watched it. Breath of the Wild won Best Game, Best Action, and Best Direction. No surprise, but man, so many awards.
yeah.
No, not Best Action. Sorry, it won Best Open World, I think, was Breath of the Wild. Wolfenstein 2 won Best Action. So
Yeah.
Cuphead won Best Indie. Absolutely deserved. Nier Automata won Best Score. I never played Nier Automata, but I heard amazing things about it.
Yeah.
Overwatch
It was
won
awesome.
Best Ongoing Game. Hellblade
Yep.
won for Best Actor Performance. I actually never heard about Hellblade until recently, and I gotta look into it. I heard a lot of crazy things about it. So, Persona 5 won Best RPG. Persona 5 or just Persona? I don't know.
It was Persona 5.
The Last of Us 2 is the most anticipated game. No surprise there.
Yeah.
Mario Odyssey won Best Family Game.
Yeah.
And those were kind of the highlights. Games that were
I'm glad
announced.
Forza 7 won Best Sports Racing Game. Like
Okay.
That made
Forza
my
7,
day.
sweet.
Yeah.
Then we had a bunch of games announced, and I'll just quickly run through some of these. Bayonetta 3 was announced. That's going to be exclusive to the Switch. Soul Calibur 6 is coming
can't
out,
wait.
which is pretty cool. A Way Out is a game that was like not announced there, but they had a trailer. But I heard there's been some rumors that it got pushed back to like late 2019/20, or not late 2019, early 2019. So, best score in a game I've ever played. Actually, I'm sad that I'm stuck running a MacBook Pro. Lol. All right, good to know, Jake. I might have to check out Nier. I heard it again. I heard incredible things about it. So,
Yeah, it was a cool game.
A Way Out. It sounds cool. But yeah, it got pushed back a little bit. If you don't know, A Way Out is it's a co-op game about breaking out of prison. So,
Yeah.
Death Stranding got a new trailer. About as fucked up as always. That, like, they had people stabbing themselves and floating away, and then you go into the dude's mouth. What's the guy's name's mouth? And then there's a baby inside, and he gives, like, a thumbs up, and...
Yeah.
Man,
That trailer looks so weird.
fucking Kojima, man. He's a dude. He's a dude. He's one of those. They have a lot of people like that. Like, there's a guy who I didn't write it down, but I can't remember what it was. It was a game designer, I think, or a game. I don't know what he was, but he was talking about his favorite game was Pocket Camp. Was the Animal Crossing Pocket Camp that came out. That was his best game of the year. And he said it was because he has his way of thinking, his weird way of thinking, which is like, he was talking about how there's so many nuanced ideas in it. Like, you know, would a bird and a bear or a raccoon or something just being able to walk up and talk to each other actually make them not enemies? Would, like, what happens if you actually, like, there's just a whole bunch of random, I'd have to look it up, I'd have to go find it, but yeah, he said a bunch of weird shit about it, man, that, like, I'll see if I can find it, but there's that, but yeah, Death Stranding, Kojima's another one of those guys who are just, yeah, he's a weird dude, man, but he does an incredible job.
He does. But the thing is that I didn't like is that it's freaking PS4 exclusive.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and there's that.
Which, I mean, I'm not buying a PS4 just for one game. I'm sorry. I don't have one. I don't plan on buying one. Hell, I've got an Xbox One, and it's literally sitting underneath my desk behind my green
Shout out to our
screen.
sponsor.
Like, I don't even, like, have it plugged in or anything.
Okay.
I need to plug it in, but I haven't. I'm supposed to put it in the bedroom. I just haven't taken the time to do it because I'm too lazy.
All right, let's see. What else? One sec, let me... Oh, there's that new thing.
Shout out to Sherry's Berries for...
Boop. Sea of Thieves got a release date, was one of them. It got a release date of March 20th. So, I'm excited about that.
Huh.
There's a new game called Witchfire, which I was trying to... I can't remember exactly what that was about. Ah! Here we go. I think this is the one that he... Here we go. I found it. So, let's find out this guy's name really quick. Is Yoko Taro, which I don't actually know who he is, but he was saying that he's like, he loves this game because it's like, what is going on in this ecosystem? When you run out of things to eat, do you resort to cannibalism? Is there so much difference in the intelligence of birds and fish? If you walk on two legs and talk, does that mean you won't be hunted? Is the value of your life determined by your intelligence? There are so many interesting themes hidden in this game. Like, why do you collect things that are right next to the monsters to make them happy? Like a slave? I guess this represents the divisions between people in class society. So yeah, he's a dude. He's a dude.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to talk about the FCC stuff?
Yes. We can, this is a good time. I pretty much mentioned everything. Oh, there's one more. It's called GTFO. One more game announced. GTFO. It's by the people who made Payday. And it looks really cool. It looks like a survival horror. It's a survival horror game. Looks really good. So, anyways, though.
Actually, one more thing about video game announcements.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've heard of this game yet. I'm sure you might have, but Doki Doki, the dating simulator game.
I remember.
Yeah, so I would highly suggest, if anybody feels like it, you should play it. For one, it's free. For two, it's there's been a lot that's been revealed on Reddit and a few other places. I was watching the game theory videos on them, and apparently Doki Doki is a precursor to a game that's going to come out next year by the same developers. And essentially, if you don't play Doki Doki and you don't try and like go through the storyline in it, then the new game coming out in 2018, you won't get like all the little hints and stuff in it. And the cool thing about Doki Doki is that you can finish the game in probably about like an 8-hour sit down. I mean, it's like the initial game you can finish in 2 hours, but you're supposed to replay the game over and over. Um, and so in about 8 hours, you essentially get all the content out of it that the game
Sure.
has for you. And like if you get all the content like out of it and like actually like learn about the game and everything, and if it interests you at all while like after doing the first playthrough and starting up the second one, if you're lost in it and you just don't care anymore, then all right, fine, so be it. But if you like the way that sort of game is going, then you're really gonna like the game coming out in 2018. So yeah.
Sweet. I'm not interested in that, sadly.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, man.
Just fucking play it,
Oh,
man.
man. I got so many things on my list of games I gotta play already. Shit.
Dude, you gotta play it. I'm gonna be playing it. I've
Yeah, I heard.
Even-
I'll watch it on your stream or something. Is what I'll do.
yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm definitely gonna be playing that game. Because I originally wasn't gonna play it because I'm like, oh, it's just like a whatever game, Okay, it's got little Easter eggs and stuff. All right, that's kind of cool. But then I started like getting into like all the theories and stuff on it, and I'm like, oh, this is a lot more than what it is on the surface. This isn't just some like bullshit game that you play through. Like I would not have even looked at it had I not seen all the theories and shit.
sure.
But
Sure.
after looking into it, like it half of it sucks because I do know pretty much everything that's going to be happening in the game, but then the other half of it's like I wouldn't have even thought to play the game had I not looked into the theories.
Sure. Well, that's cool,
So
and that's cool that the game developer has it as a prelude to the next one. So
yeah. But I mean, like all of those like visual novel type games are supposed to be played over multiple times.
yeah, yeah.
I was talking with one of my friends. Apparently, he plays those games a lot, and he said that normally you are supposed to play those games over and over. And if I didn't know that, then I like played through it the first time, and I probably would have been really disappointed at the end of it if I didn't know about needing to play through it multiple times.
Sure. Yeah, there's a lot of that in a lot of those kind of games and whatnot. So multiple story playthroughs. That's the replayability of them. So
yeah. So but yeah. So now moving on to the FCC stuff.
woo, FCC stuff. I don't like to get too political, so I don't think we're gonna talk too long about this. But it's definitely something worth talking about.
And I'm like the opposite spectrum. Like I talk about politics all the fucking time.
Yeah, I don't, because I think the reason is I'm not that knowledgeable about it, honestly.
Okay.
Like I don't actually pay attention to as much as I should be.
Okay.
So I try and avoid making statements that all of a sudden make me look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But FCC, if you haven't heard, today they did repeal net neutrality. Fuck.
Yep.
So
Of a vote
again,
of 3-2.
net neutrality, if you don't know what it is, to give you a quick, just super, surface level of what it is it pretty much stops your internet companies and stuff forcing you to pay more for specific services. A good just real world example to give you is there's a lot of places
blocking services.
Yeah, blocking services, slowing network connections to certain websites and things like that because you don't pay the extra, or the company doesn't pay the extra to the internet provider.
Yep.
Which there's not a lot of ISPs out there, which is something that needs to change.
Most places have one, maybe two ISPs.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, real world example. What's a place that doesn't have net neutrality? Does Sweden have net neutrality?
China doesn't.
China doesn't. There you go. That's a good example. There's a lot of places out there, and you might have seen them circling around Twitter and things like that. People posting pictures where you had to pay an extra like $2 to go to Twitter. It's like, oh, you already pay for your internet, but you have to, if you pay in order to watch YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook and all that, you had to pay another $10 on top of that. So Portugal, there you go. And that they'll literally come up with an alert where if you try and go to Twitter, it'll just be like pop-up of like, buy our service. So it's microtransaction, the internet version.
Yeah.
In a way.
China doesn't have it because they actually will block certain games from being
Yeah.
able to be played online. Like they're planning on blocking PUBG from being able to be played in China.
Yeah, but they have, what's that company? Tencent? Tencent is a Chinese company that makes incredible games and actually made more money this year, made more money than in the last few months than Ubisoft, EA, and one other company combined. So they're making a shit ton of money, but they made a deal with Bluehole to be the sole provider for PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, and I think they're known for mobile games is what it is. So I think they're making a mobile version of PUBG, which will actually be able to be played in China. So, or something along those lines.
Interesting.
So there you go. But yeah. FCC, my thoughts on it, as I said, I'll keep it short and simple so I don't look like an idiot. To me, what it's told me is the FCC just our part of our federal government just doesn't give a shit about the public. They don't care about, regardless, consumers. They don't care about big companies. Some of the biggest companies, Amazon, Twitch are the same. Google and so many of these companies came out and said that they're fighting net neutrality. They're fighting the repeal of net neutrality. They're fighting for net neutrality. Yeah. So they want to. They see it as a problem. Like even the big companies that, in honesty, it benefits, they don't even want it as well. They see it as unfair to the consumers, and it's unfair to everyone else. And the FCC's excuse is that it's net neutrality is actually stifling small businesses, things like that, which is fucking ridiculous because small businesses can't afford the kind of shit that you would need. So,
no, he was saying that it was stifling innovation within the ISPs themselves.
Sure.
He was saying that the competition between ISPs would actually increase bandwidth and all that stuff, and there'd be more innovation within ISPs themselves.
There you go. Exactly. And that's why, that's the idea with it, but no one wants it. No one.
Well, it's not that no one wants it; it's that it's not feasible because the innovation within the ISPs is up to the ISP to actually want to do something. If they've got competition like Google Fiber in the area, then they're going to actually push to get their own fiber out first and become a competitor.
Exactly.
Now, the problem is, it'd be great if there was 7 or 8 internet providers in a single area, but there's only 2, 2, sometimes 3. So there's really no competition there. And a lot of times those internet providers are actually talking with each other and kind of pairing up and doing the same thing together. If you, for example, here in Vegas, we have 2 main internet providers. We have CenturyLink and we have Cox. Now, CenturyLink, they provide DSL, Cox provides cable. And before, probably about a year ago or so, not even a year ago, 6 months ago, there was no bandwidth caps whatsoever. None.
Yeah.
You could, as long as you had the bandwidth, you could do whatever you wanted with it. And as of about 3 months ago, both CenturyLink and Cox introduced bandwidth caps of exactly 1 terabyte for each one. How are they not talking to each other if they are both introducing the exact same bandwidth cap at the exact same time? So, yeah, they're going to be talking with each other and doing things like that. And if, for some reason they want to charge extra for certain sites, or For example, Time Warner owns a lot of streaming services. They could slow down other streaming services to make theirs look better because who wants to watch a video that keeps buffering?
Okay.
So the only thing that Ajit Pai said that would actually be a good thing is the transparency factor. Is that if they are slowing down sites or saying that, you know, certain websites are blocked, they have to be transparent about it and they can't just hide it,
Yeah.
and pretend like nothing's wrong. So that's better, but that's only good if you have competition so that like one provider says we don't block anything and then another provider says, well, we block these things but we're a little bit cheaper. That would make sense, but I mean, if your one internet provider in your area that actually gives you reasonable speed says, well, we block Netflix, but you can use Hulu, then what else are you going to do? You can't switch services. You can't go to another service
No,
because
and-
the other service is either going to be slower or not even have any support for it.
And exactly, and that's one of the again major kind of flaws with it. And again, they're hoping it'll be good, but again, this really just tells me is that they don't. Again, federal government really doesn't care what a lot of the most of the public really wants, right? Even our state governments don't even want it. Like, there was a great video, I actually retweeted it, about our senator or our representatives in Washington for the state government and being like, fuck this, we ain't supporting federal government. We're gonna fight this. We're gonna find. They're like, we're getting the papers on the rules about repealing net neutrality, and we're gonna find as many loopholes as we can, and we're gonna use them. So,
Yeah.
and
I mean, the problem is that the papers that they wrote up on the repeal, they pretty much made it so that individual states cannot impose their own net neutrality rules.
yes, and that's the thing is now